proper way, and I'm going to give him a proper Slamcast birthday salute. A birthday salute. Yes, this is the first one. The happy 65th birthday, belated, of course, because we taped the show after his birthday. To the $10,000 suit wearing, Rolex watch sporting, limousine riding, Lear jet flying, wheeling dealing, kiss stealing, son of a gun, who's still trying to hold them gators down. Ric Flair, that was my best Ric Flair impression. I hope I do him justice. Welcome! This isn't a podcast, it's the Slamcast. I am your host, Brandon Liggian. I am joined by Mr. Michael Burhan. I am joined by somebody who shares a birthday week with Mr. Ric Flair, Nick Horacek. Dave Wade is MIA. He'll be here joining us later, I'm sure.
Woo!
Yes, give out a big shout out to Big Woos.
Woo! Double A! You're here with
double A! Burhan is the double A to my Ric Flair. God damn it.
Yes.
Oh, fuck, we missed
I was
that
waiting on
reference.
that. I was waiting on my double A. I was waiting.
Fuck, man.
Because I am the enforcer.
Wait, we're
of
doing that show over.
Slamcast.
Do it.
I am the enforcer of Slamcast and soon to be your newest host on The Daily Show, Michael. I don't give a fuck what anyone says about me, Burhan. Yes. And by the way, I just want to say a great big thank you to Mike Payden, Tony Mango, and Stephen Wago for basically thumbing down my videos, my podcast, because you guys are jelly. Go fuck yourselves.
Whatever. It is what it is, bro.
It's the other show that we don't promote because we don't really give a fuck about them. And as far as I'm concerned, I feel that Slamcast is the premier podcast about wrestling that's not helmed by a professional wrestler. It's helmed by two wrestling performers, of course, myself being a former professional wrestler, Brandon Liggian, aka Mr. Brandon Gold there as well, and Mr. Nick Horacek, who's basically our mouth of the South. He's our Jimmy Hart to our tag team.
He's a super fan.
He is.
I call Nick's the super fan.
He is our super fan.
Because Nick has like a wide knowledge of everything. If Nick, like I said, Nick could perform, but Nick chooses not to. Nick could be. He's just a super fan. That's why he's on the show.
And
that's
also,
why I think that makes us better. We don't give perspective of just people who haven't done it before.
Yeah, no, and I agree, and the fun is
I don't want to poo-poo Dace though.
Well, the way that I see on this whole situation as well. No, Chris Dace is also a professional wrestler in his own right, and he is a friend of this show and of our network. And then, as far as I'm concerned, speaking of shots fired, of course, we might as well actually go into it. There was shots fired recently by AJ Lee. Currently, which making the internet rounds of Give Divas a Chance, the hashtag Give Divas a Chance. Talking basically, she kind of did a rebuttal to Stephanie McMahon, talking about the fact that how Stephanie did that whole kind of tweet about the Oscars and how she believes like women should be empowered and stuff like that, and how then AJ just came and blurted out the fact that the divas don't earn as much money as the men. It's actually kind of marginal. In terms of like the highest diva doesn't earn the amount of money that the kind of the lower card guys even get.
Even the lowest card. I mean, that was. Do I have everybody's attention now? Yeah. Kind of moments, like goddamn.
Yeah, and I want to point out.
I think she's burning her bridges too. I think that's what it is.
But I want to point out the reason why we knew it. Everyone knew that this was the case. The reason why it's become so focal now is anything, and I don't believe AJ's defending the girls. I don't believe that at all, because AJ's been in some amazing programs. She's been in programs like with both Daniel Bryan main eventing. She's been in programs like with CM Punk main eventing. She was the general manager of Raw at one point. So it's not, John Cena as well. She's been in there with John Cena and Kane. AJ has been with some of the big guys main eventing shows and main eventing pay-per-views. Dolph versus John Cena. She's the one who basically came in there and gave Dolph the match. AJ Lee is basically...
she's definitely had every opportunity,
Yeah, she's not
that
one...
a diva could have.
She's...
Again, if you had to say that anybody's the top diva, she's got to be in that conversation now. So
yeah, she is. She's basically
going to be an expert.
If you count her and if you count the greatest divas of all time, she's basically had more opportunities than Michelle McCool. You know, and people used to get pissy about McCall being like the Divas champion on SmackDown, you know. And the fact is, the de facto thing about this is AJ is kind of like popcorn in the kettle black. She's kind of one to talk about it, and I'm not gonna demean her words or demean her as a person, because, you know, she's a good person. She has every right to make that statement that she's made, but we all know the reason why she said it. My opinion, Brandon's opinion.
This is gonna get ugly, dude.
Yeah,
this is gonna get ugly with a capital U.
Yeah, if you know
look, you have no. I don't know what the legal system is like in the UK, but lawsuits like this sometimes take years to get resolved. This could go on for a long time and could get ugly with a capital U.
Well, let me explain about this. Now, the WWE last week, we talked to you guys about this and how the WWE basically decided they wanted to do something against Mr. CM Punk.
Mr. Brooks.
You know, well, we're not allowed to call
Colton.
him. We're not allowed to call him his government name.
No.
Yeah. So CM Punk and Colt Cabana, because we're not worthy. We're not worthy of the government names.
Okay.
And we have to go by professional wrestling, you know, standards, Brandon.
Even the fact that I'm, you know, me and you are both kind of in the business.
Yeah, but the thing is that we don't know them, so we can't do that. But Mr. Punk and Mr. Cabana got filed this lawsuit for this doctor, who we found out is basically doing it under the pretense of the WWE saying you can't get away.
Even though I've met Colt Cabana before.
Well, okay, you can call him by. Did you let me call him his government name before?
No, I just said, "Hey, man, how's it going?" I'm a big fan.
It's like Doug Williams. Doug Williams is Doug Williams, so it's fine. So I can call him that. And I met him, and I offered to carry his belt for him once, and he laughed. But yeah, the thing about it is, you look at guys like that. You look at like him, and you look at Punk, and the fact that they're making off like bandits from this whole situation. The WWE doesn't like that. Well, I wouldn't say WWE, I'd say Vince McMahon doesn't like that, because if the board of directors sat there and Vince said, let's do this, I think the board of directors would probably have laughed in his face. This is a Vince McMahon decision, and this is Vince's ego, in my opinion, and it's him not keeping his own ego in check, and that's a problem, and this is one of the reasons why I think the WWE is kind of suffering, because Vince doesn't keep his ego in check. Remember what happened to the Linda McMahon campaign? Do you remember that?
Here, allow me to play devil's advocate. WWE is, I will say, like Vince McMahon says, is a massive company. So I don't think really Vince McMahon really has that much control with the legal counsel. For those, I don't know if Chris Amon used WWE legal counsel to do that, but yeah, you could definitely think that this is somewhat motivated from inside.
Oh, it's motivated. It's motivated because this is them firing their shots
through Chris Amon. They're not gonna use. I mean, you use that sound effect is coming. You know.
Yeah, it's basically
5 minutes too late.
It's basically their shots fired. We'll leave that on the background. It's like our A team. That's their shots fired in this whole situation. Then we
are sort of like the A team of podcasts.
We are the A team, and the thing is as well, they took their shots, and then Punk. And this is the funny thing is, they're not doing it directly through one another. They're doing it through their de facto others. They're doing it through this doctor whatever the fuck his name is. I don't give a fuck. He's only relevant for 5 minutes of fame.
Dr. Z-Pack.
Yeah, Dr. Z-Pack. He gets like X-Pac heat. You got him.
Z-Pack. He gets Z-Pack heat.
Z-Pack heat. And then you get AJ.
There we go.
Then you get AJ Lee, aka Mrs. CM Punk, fighting her battles for her hubby. The way that this is done is completely underhanded on both sides. I'm not gonna lie. She wants out.
It's gonna get ugly, man.
Yeah, you can tell she wants out.
With a capital U.
Yeah, she wants out. She's done. She's done with the company. You can tell she's done with the company. But the whole situation now, the whole way that this is going, she doesn't like the way.
I thought she actually is done. I thought her contract did expire at the end of January. If I'm not
no,
mistaken.
she's with the company still. She's supposed to return. They were supposed to build a big program of her, elevating the Divas division. But they've decided, Vince and Co. apparently, and I'm going to say apparently because it's only a rumor. WrestleZone.com states that Vince McMahon was the one who told Stephanie to say thank you for the comment to AJ Lee, and said that he's going to work on things to get the Divas more spotlight on Raw. So we've got to watch this space. Because they've listened to the WWE Universe. And I'm going to put air quotes here. Listened to the WWE Universe.
Bullshit!
Yeah, and I agree with Nick on that one. But the fact is, this situation isn't about the Divas, and it's not about the Doc. This is about the WWE versus CM Punk. And the problem is, this is what happens when two stubborn individuals, because Mr. Brooks and Mr. Vince McMahon are both the same individual. Stubborn as fucking oxes. Right? These guys are stubborn as hell. I don't understand why Vince doesn't see himself in CM Punk. I really don't, because Punk and McMahon are stubborn. What you boys need to do, and I'm going to give you guys a bit of advice here from the good old Western here. Put some barbecue sauce on it. Now, the things that
why'd you go to Jim Ross?
the things that you good old boys need to do is you need to go out there and you need to rustle yourselves up and get yourselves in a room and lock that door. You need to lock that door. I'm going Dusty Rhodes now. You need to lock that door.
Yeah. Why you started as Jim Ross and now you're Dusty Rhodes?
You need to lock that door, and you need to close that door. And you need to get yourselves in a meeting, boys. You need to get yourselves in a meeting. You need to sit down and you need to talk things over. Because if you don't talk things over, things are going to get bad or worse. And when they get bad or worse, these are going to be a WWE PR problem. Because if you fire AJ Lee,
now you're doing somebody else.
I'm going into full preacher mode. But if you basically, if they
why don't
fire,
you just go throw Pat Patterson in there just to complete the full round?
Okay, would I need to get a guy sucking my cock to do that?
No, this is how you talk like Pat Patterson's. You don't really have a very good comprehension of the English languages, and sometimes you pluralize things that don't need to be pluralized.
Yeah, well, this is the thing though. If they're in a bind, because if they fire AJ Lee, they're going to get done for a women's rights issue, especially after Stephanie did that tweet. They're going to slow burn her out, and I think that's what she wants. They're going to try and make her quit the company, and she's not going to quit. She's going to do her time until her contract expires and leave. She doesn't give a fuck. This is what they don't understand. She doesn't give a fuck. There's a reason why she spoke out. She spoke out because now she's the good guy in all of this. She is really the good guy in all this because she's seen as a person who's empowering a women's rights movement. The WWE...
Not because she's the I guess, senior female, talent there. She's. I mean, the people that have been there longer than who's been there longer than who?
Layla.
Who's been there longer than Layla? Okay, yeah. Layla and Alicia Fox.
Yep. Both been there longer than she has. But the thing is,
two people.
And the Bellas.
Layla and Alicia Fox.
And the Bellas.
Okay, Layla and the Bellas.
Yeah. The thing about it is, the WWE. I know Brie brought it up about the fact that they
Natalia has Natalia. Okay.
Natalia. Yeah, Natalia has as well.
All right. So.
But the thing is, she's been more vocal because she chose her spot. The thing about this it wasn't the fact that she did it; it's how she did it. And she did it because she knew she was going to get attention for it, and she chose her spot. She took her shot.
She's arguably the diva with the.
She's the CM Punk of the divas. She's the one who got.
She's the diva with the most attention.
Clout.
That gets the most attention no matter what. Or she's definitely in that top three. The Bellas, because of who they're in a relationship with. Her, because
and also
because
they have total divas built around them. The Bellas are kind of the PR2 of the WWE.
They are the female marketing brand of it. And, duh.
But again, this is where
if I had a company and I had the Bellas, I would make them the female face of my company.
Well, they're the reason why Total Divas happened, because they're the ones who kind of negotiated that for them, in a sense. They were the ones that were brought to the table to negotiate this.
And I'm not gonna say as a guilty pleasure Total Divas fan.
Yeah, I don't watch
the show
it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't watch it.
It's I watch it when I'm about to go to bed. So it's not something.
Well, it's not just that. It's not the fact that as a wrestling fan I don't watch it. It's more of as someone who likes scripted television as opposed to reality TV. I think reality TV
it's pretty
necessary.
Scripted. Oh no, you can clearly tell that it's WWE.
No, but that's what I'm saying. It's not reality TV. I like shows like Man vs. Food, because Man vs. Food, I love those shows because you get to see something. If there's nothing I can get out of it, and I can't get anything out of a show where you have women sitting there talking about their personal problems, if I wanted to watch that, I'd watch The Soup, or something like that. Fucking, I don't know what the fuck.
What if the women are really hot, though?
Yeah, I don't care how hot you are. I wouldn't. The thing is, I don't care how hot you are. I still wouldn't sit down and listen to your problems. You'd have to be in a relationship with me.
And super pagey.
You have to be in a relationship. Yeah, I know you like your milky skin princess. Yeah, I know, but the thing is, I think
you know
Paige...
what? I came up with a new name.
What's
for Paige,
that?
by the way. The Queen of Canaries.
Or your milky, your Milky Bar queen.
I'm trying to go with my fucking English fucking roots here. God damn it.
Yeah, you wanna. I think
Norwich,
you wanna lay
Canaries.
He wants to lay down some English roots. That's what he wants to do.
All I'm saying is, I really hate Kevin Scaff from A Day to Remember right now. That's all I'm saying.
But as I said, segueing from that, all I'm saying is,
good on him though, and I'm gonna listen to Kevin. I'm listening to my A Day to Remember records. This is where we're going on this whole situation. This is where we're going. Creepy page moment of the week.
Oh no! Nick already did that.
Road to restraining order.
Yeah, Nick already did that.
Road to restraining order.
That's the fact on there. Oh, evening, Mr. Unlim. Mr. Retro Unlim's on the show.
DVR is going to join us. Awesome.
Yeah, he's basically sitting here talking on the side. But that's that perspective on that.
Is he like working or something? Is that why he can't come on the show?
I think he is. Yeah. So we're going from that. What's your opinion, Nick? You haven't said much. You've been a bit quiet about this. Do you think this is those two taking this is basically CM Punk and Vince should just go into bed and just fuck each other?
I just saw an episode of American Dad earlier. Is the one where Stan and Roger are in a contest, like some acting play or whatever, and Haley makes a comment, "You two should just fucking get it over with." It's like shots fired on both ends, but not coming directly from the parties involved.
Yeah.
And AJ has a point. The whole inequality with wages is a huge issue completely across America, not just in WWE. So AJ, if she's just basically trying to burn her bridges, and AJ's another person that could legitimately walk away right now and not give a fuck. She's set for life. Her husband is set for life.
Yeah.
They don't have to step foot in a wrestling ring ever again.
Collectively, these two are very well off. Punk's not doing UFC for the money, folks. He's doing it because he has the clout.
His comic.
He wants to challenge himself.
Yeah. How much do you think he earned from that 4 comic? Probably less than what he has in the bank right now.
You know what though? I think it was just. He's gonna get a lot on the back end. They probably didn't pay him a lot up front.
It's branding. It's branding opportunities. He's doing it to basically do something he loves.
That's out, right?
Yeah, that's out at the moment. Right? Yep.
I'm gonna have to go to my.
I need to find it.
Store.
I have a copy. I have a copy. But it is one of those situations where Punk is. They don't need this money. They don't need. This isn't about money. This isn't a money issue. Both parties involved, Mr. and Mrs. Punk, have got between them probably a cool 3 or 4 million in the bank.
They're like I said, they're not worried.
Yeah, they're very well off.
Cash.
My thing.
They can make a lot of good money on the comic circuit.
Yeah, and this won't go to court, and the whole doctor thing won't go to court, and I'll tell you why.
No.
There's a thing called freedom of speech. You can go out there and you can say whatever the fuck you want about whoever the fuck you want to say about, as long as it's not racist, as long as it's not sexist. And as long as it's basically nothing that will stop anyone from getting work anywhere, that means you would have to literally go.
Well, I mean,
no, but it's not going to get
that last one.
It's not going to stop him getting work anywhere because he works for the WWE. His job is there. Have they fired him? No, he hasn't lost his job. So there's no damages, right? That basically it's like $1 million. Like your fucking job's even worth $1 million, dude. Seriously.
Okay, but there might come a time when he's not working for the WWE.
Doesn't matter, dude. If the dude from the pharmacy scandal,
like that was said about him.
Okay.
The fact that, especially as a doctor, and if if it was reported that he gave, suspect medical care to somebody.
Let me ask you a question. If it goes to trial and they can prove that the other doctor gave them, basically sliced the fucking thing off, don't you think that would be more detrimental?
Yes, because then it could prove out that this guy was actually incompetent.
There you go. And that's the thing. You can't sit there and you can't make judgments. And I know that this isn't going to go to court because, and especially because of the lavish sum of money as well, it's not going to happen. What I will say, you know,
Trying to get some of that money back.
Yeah.
In a small way, through Chris Amon. By making Chris Amon potentially rich.
Yeah, and my opinion on this whole situation is this. Mr. Doctor Person, bail out now. Because if you're going to do this shit, more shit's going to come out, it's going to make you look even worse. You could even get yourself stricken, right, as a fucking doctor. You don't want that.
Yeah, because I mean, if he's giving suspect medical advice to Punk and he can't diagnose something like staph infection or anything like that,
they're pissed, right? Vince is pissed because Punk doesn't need the WWE machine to stay over. That was the thing. He's over. He's extremely over right now.
He was over before they got there.
Yeah, he's going to be over for the rest of his fucking life until he decides he wants fucking personal time,
As he says, they're going to love him until his last breath.
Yeah. And the thing about it, he's in a peculiar circumstance because he's got, like, the it factor. But they never wanted to utilize that it factor. Now, moving on from that, let's go on to another gentleman who has the it factor.
I was gonna say before we move on, when you're doing your like Jim Ross into Dusty Rhodes, when you started at Jim Ross, do you do Bell's palsy Jim Ross with the side of your face?
I've got Bell's. I have Bell's palsy, so I don't need to do that. See, this is people don't know. I, like Jim Ross, have Bell's palsy. I have it on the right side of my face.
You know what, bro? And I didn't know that before. You're not the first person I have made a joke like that to.
It doesn't matter. I'm not offended. I'm fucking not offended. Bell's palsy is just a medical condition.
Here's what I'm saying though. You are not the first person where I have said it made a joke about medical diseases, and that person has that disease.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's not
You're
not
like
offensive.
The fourth person I've done that.
I'm not offended. The thing is about it, I always laugh when people go, "Oh, dude, this person said shit about you. Are you offended?" I ain't fucking offended. I don't get offended by the fact that Mike Payton and his fucking fake Rollins like quiff.
He doesn't have no. It's not blue.
I have no issue with anybody else. And as far as I'm concerned, it takes a hell of a lot to offend me. And you've got to be someone that I give a fuck about to offend me. Or you've got to say something that's really, really demeaning towards me to give a fuck about me. There's a few things you have said to me before that have offended me, and I've always told you. But this doesn't offend me because it's.
What was that? What did I say?
Oh, do you remember when we had that angry Skype call?
Oh, okay,
yeah. You said a lot of stuff that offended me there, but we walked past that. But it was one of those things where I came with this, I don't really give a fuck. And this is the thing. It's like Bell's palsy is a medical condition that happens.
See, all right, I didn't know we could move on from that. I was just...
No, I'm just saying. Bell's palsy is a medical condition. You get it on the basically it happens when you have a blocked nerve in your face.
My dad had it.
Yeah, so you get it on the left. Most people usually get it on the left. I got it on the right side of my face. Luckily enough, touch wood, I haven't had a repeat call of it. But when I did my Jim Ross, I didn't do my Bell's palsy Jim Ross because I respect that man. And I wouldn't do the Oklahoman thing, which went really bad very quickly.
Yeah.
I watched that again. I watched the WCW pay-per-view recently where it had Oklahoma on there.
Those are such train wreck pay-per-views.
And he was sitting there going, Stone Cold! For no reason. He was just blurting out JR mannerisms.
Again, there's such train wreck. It was it was a combination of awkward moments, terrible creative, and just guys not giving a fuck. Just clearly... by January 2001, everybody in that company knew the writing on the wall, and they were just essentially kind of running out the clock.
Yeah. So speaking of writing on the wall, did we talk about Vince Russo and the fact that he's got a fucking hard on at the moment? Because a certain person who writes for the is it the PWI newsletter? I believe.
Okay.
Basically stated that Vince Russo went to a meeting with Lucha Underground, Russo decides to act like a fucking prick and start going, these are inflammatory statements and all this and that shit about it. Who gives a fuck if you're in negotiations with Lucha Underground? Seriously, Russo? He decided to blurt it out on WrestleZone.com because apparently he works for them now.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he writes little like puff pieces like Mark Madden does. You know, and it's one of those things where he's just sitting there getting really pissy about it. And I'm just trying to find the article about it, and it was just like
I that's what I just admire that's what Vince Russo has really been reduced to now. He's like literally just, hey guys, anybody want to hire me? Like I had some good ideas way back when. Remember those great ideas I had?
He works from home for an English company at the moment.
18 years ago.
One PW.
Remember?
IPW. He works for them currently. And he's just basically just got really pissy. I think it was Bill Behrens. I think he got really pissed off about. And you know, Behrens was basically he's like, he knows people who are in the situation, you know, and they know what was happening. And Russo's like, you're a fucking liar, and he just basically went on WrestleZone.com and went pissy about it. Do you know what? For someone who, for a site like WrestleZone who are pro WWE, and I'm saying this, you guys are pro WWE because I just saw an article from Eisenberg saying Roman Reigns is ready. If that's not a give me a job, Vince, I don't know what is. As far as I'm concerned,
wait, is that all it takes to get a job? Because I've been saying Roman Reigns is ready for, you know.
Oh, he's not fucking ready. Come on.
Since I thought he was at least ready for the shot when his match was Randy Orton.
Did you watch Raw? Did you watch Raw with everyone trying to put the guy over and him getting booed like the fucking out the building?
Look, I think Daniel Bryan did a good job of making him look credible in the ring.
No, Daniel Bryan got, you know, everyone was sitting there looking at him puzzled when he's sitting there saying, I know the fans boo you like I used to boo you, but they're wrong. It's like, dude, these people are behind you 110%.
It's them. I admit it's them trying too hard, but
they're fucking trying too hard. They might as well plaster Roman Reigns' "We Love Roman" on the fucking bus with his anus. Like,
I mean, they were starting to do that with John Cena, though. They were starting to do that with John Cena.
Dude, they didn't do that. John Cena. Look, I will say this: there's a difference between Roman Reigns and John Cena. John Cena got over on his own. The WWE machine got behind him after he got over. John Cena was a WWE champion before the machine got behind him. Right?
Yep.
Before
beat JBL at WrestleMania 21, and then had actually one of my favorite matches of all time, that I Quit match.
This is when the WWE,
you know, that's not the machine.
World Heavyweight Championship. They gave him as soon as he went to Raw. Remember, we talked about this. As soon as he was drafted to Raw, he looked 10 times worse than he did on the SmackDown because it was pre-taped, so they could edit his matches and make him look like, you know, strong.
Real strong. But Cena picked up the slack, and Cena made himself into a bona fide star with the machine. Then basically got behind him. His sales went through the roof. His merchandise sales were great, and he is now the company's Hulk Hogan. They changed him to reflect what they wanted, but Cena got himself over. Reigns has done nothing to get himself over with those pathetic suffering succotash promos. You know, he's gotten better. Like I said,
he's gotten better because he does short and sweet.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. They're figuring out ways. Like he's not like he doesn't have the I would just call it witty, like the fast, you know, comeback humor like John Cena has. That's what helped John Cena.
John Cena always did. Do you remember when John Cena used to do the fucking reverse promos where he would like rewind himself and then say the promo again? It was. John Cena has always been liquid on the fucking mic. He's always been dynamite on the mic, right? Reigns isn't. Physically, Reigns can put on a great strongman match, but he is no Brock Lesnar. He's not a guy that can go in the ring and dismantle anyone. He's not a guy that can go in the ring, and he's not even a Bill Goldberg in a sense. Reigns is Reigns. Reigns was put together with two people that had a hell of a lot more than he had, who helped him get over. because he was seen as the muscle one, the dominant one of the trio, where they would like hand him the fucking scraps to get in there and destroy, right? Which is great. He is no baby face of the company. He's not there yet. They should have gave him that good old fucking Randy Savage Ultimate Warrior push and gave him the mid-card belt to get him there. They should have allowed him to get over on his own and then gave him that push. He's not there.
I disagree with you, and I think
Go for it.
We'll see over the next 31 days. They will, if it goes off, because again, that's a whole other issue that we'll talk about later. But I think, given the chance, we will see.
He's not. I just don't. I believe he's like. He would probably, once he gets the title, people are just going to boo the fuck out of him, and then Rollins...
I put it this way, is he better, or else he's not going to have a lot of time to grow? Like, if the backlash is immediate, and if it's bad...
It's going to be bad. And as soon as Rollins cashes in, whether it be at WrestleMania or on Raw, people are going to cheer the fuck out of Rollins, which shouldn't be the case, because he's your number one heel.
Well, no, just some people are going to cheer the heels no matter what. There's always going to be that vocal...
Does everyone remember Dolph Ziggler and fucking Alberto Del Rio? Do you remember how much of a fucking clusterfuck that was?
Yeah.
And then they did that role reversal on it, and they should have basically had... That could have reinvigorated the whole feud, and then they just cut his legs off from under him. It's ridiculous, man. They don't know what they're doing, and it's sad because in my opinion, the WWE, like they've in the news as well, guys, because we might as well segue. The WWE have managed to get Triple H and Stephanie McMahon and this other dude who works in their online department into their board of directors. So that means that Triple H and Stephanie have gained more power in the company, which is great. But Vince is still booking. This is where the problem lies. Vince McMahon needs to step back. Or as they say, stand back. So you got that one.
Stand back! God. Oh, that's just classic.
I think that's the first ever stand back reference in the history of the podcast. Good job,
It is.
man.
Thank you.
Good job.
And I know I'm ranting here, but he needs to step back and he needs to basically move on to do something else within the company. Vince can do other things. He doesn't have to have control over the booking, or at least give someone else a chance to do it. And I think the writing team, the people, his yes men, need to start standing up, because if they don't, these guys aren't going to have jobs as soon as the reins get pulled over to Triple H anyway. You saw what happened to Laurinaitis.
If Vince isn't gonna be the de facto head of the company creative wise and what the on screen product is, then what does he do? Is he just like the big picture guy? Like, what are they gonna do? Where are they?
He's the guy who can sit there and like say everyone comes to him with their ideas for like marketing and t-shirts and shit, and say I approve that, I approve that, I approve that. He's the guy that can negotiate with the wrestlers and say, okay, how much do you want? What can we do? How can we negotiate this with you? He's the big gun that can make sure that the salaries are fair, that people are basically getting the money done, that the money is going to the right places. But he shouldn't be booking for the company, because look,
I don't think he's the business guy. I think he's
he is the business guy. He's the guy that manages the guy took the company with Hulk Hogan to the next level. He allowed Steve Austin, The Rock, and Mankind to grow and take the company to another level. Austin, The Rock,
I think they did something. He had an idea, they did something, and then the company grew to that level.
Yeah, but he was more inclined to listen to these people. He's not inclined to listen to anyone anymore. And that's the problem. He's closing himself off. He rarely ever talks to talent.
Or are the ideas just not that good?
Well, I remember when Steve Austin sat there and he was like I was watching the Austin podcast, and you can tell McMahon was just doing PR. He wasn't being truthful at all. And he was going on about the brass ring, and Austin goes to him, do you remember the days when I used to sit there and I used to give you all this and tell you all that, and you used to say to me, good job, Steve, and we used to sit down and we used to be in your house, be near your mansion, and we used to discuss my character, and then I would go out there, and then you got these writers involved who try to book me in a match with Brock Lesnar with no build, no hype, not on pay-per-view, And I just walked out. And then
Stone Cold.
Thank you. And Vince was just like, I remember. But yeah, we kind of had a conflict. And it was just like, no, it wasn't a conflict. He walked out because he knew that the booking for himself was bad. And he was like, he wanted to face Hulk Hogan. They gave Hogan to The Rock and gave him Scott Hall. And he was like, no offense to Scott, but Scott wasn't Hulk Hogan. I was your top guy. Hogan was your top heel. It should have happened. And I agree with him.
Triple threat match.
Yeah,
Stone Cold, The Rock, and...
that would have been even better. The three of them in the ring. This shouldn't have happened. The bullshit that they did with his character, Austin was pissed off, and he had every right to be pissed off. And when Austin left the company, what did they do? They took shots at him. And the man didn't even say shit. They just kept on about taking your ball and going home. And Austin did not say shit. Right? He kept his mouth shut. And I'm not saying...
Well, but even now, though, he's admitted that was probably not the best thing for him to do. He's even admitted it himself. He's like, yeah, I wasn't in a good best place mentally, and if I was in a better place mentally, yeah, I probably would have handled it differently.
Yeah, I don't think he would have. Austin is like McMahon. He's a stubborn mule. He's a stubborn mule, and the big thing here, the big picture here, so is CM Punk. And the big picture is the company needs direction. At the moment, do you feel the company is putting out the best product, not NXT, the best product on the main WWE roster that they can offer? And I will guarantee you that answer is going to be no.
No, I don't think it, but I also think I've said this, I've been on the record with NXT. NXT is a better product because it operates under different parameters than the WWE. It's an hour long. It doesn't have to fill 3 hours of programming. They can record X amount of episodes in a time so they can edit their matches so it can look better, as good as possible. They work with their talent more to craft promos so the promos aren't cut, on the spot all the time.
By the way, Makeshift Majesty said Dean Ambrose, then went, get off the subject, Vince Russo snore.
I was trying to say, this has been like every episode, an episode of tangents. Like,
it has been.
On one topic,
but let's go on to our next news topic then and talk about the fact that NXT...
Did we even cover the first one? What was this first topic?
The first topic was AJ Lee and CM Punk taking shots.
Then we went on to what? We went on to what after that? You did your Vince Russo thing. Sorry. Okay. Right.
Yeah, Tangent City.
Gotcha. No, I was just trying to grasp the episode. You started on your Vince Russo thing, and then okay. Moving on.
Yeah. Moving on from that, let's go to our next topic, which is Roman Reigns allegedly, having failing a wellness policy test. And that being the reason why another gentleman...
That was what it was reported. And I think we can dismiss that as kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
Because it was then by a more reliable source.
Yeah. A user on Reddit who basically usually...
Here he is.
Yeah.
There he is.
Sorry.
Brandon,
in my defense,
okay.
I have a genuine...
Holy shit, Dave's here.
You don't have to defend yourself to me, sir. I know what it's like.
I had a power cut.
For sure.
You seem to forget. You live in the modern world. I live in Victorian London, where a fairy blowing gently in the wind knocks my world out. Sorry, I'm really upset now.
Well,
let's
ask your opinion, Dave. What do you think of the whole CM Punk WWE situation? The fact that AJ Lee took shots and that whole give divas a chance thing.
I'm fine with it, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I mean, because it's a totally valid. She put it up totally valid points. Like, I can't believe that in this country that a woman like Patricia Arquette gets like national attention for bringing up something like wage equality. Like, that shouldn't be like a big debate. That just should be something that's a thing.
No, but it's a debate now because AJ Lee when
why is it a debate?
When Stephanie gave that whole that whole spiel about commending her, AJ took her shot, and which is what we agreed of. the reason behind it was
Well, all right, let's move on.
yeah, what was the fact that she was taking a de facto shot from her boyfriend CM Punk.
Let's move on. Let's move on. Like I said, so the Reigns thing happened, and there was that we did exist in that like murky period of time where like that was the going story. But once we finally got confirmation as to why, because hey, I don't know if you're been paying attention to the wrestling world in a few weeks, but Brock Lesnar was advertised to be on Raw this week. He was advertised to be on Raw last week. For this week, and he was advertised to be on Raw 20 minutes before Raw went on the air. Lo and behold, as Raw goes on the air, no Brock Lesnar. We get Paul Heyman. No Brock Lesnar.
Correct. So why was that though? Should we tell you the story that was rumored to make rounds? And
well, that
the
was
other
that
story?
was as it first broke. There was this big. Roman Reigns flunked the wellness policy, so that caused Brock Lesnar to leave. People were starting running with this wild, and I immediately wanted to pump the brakes on it because Brock Lesnar strikes me as the person who really wouldn't give a fuck if Roman Reigns failed his drug test. It just strikes me that it really has shit to do with Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar's, and that wouldn't have anything to do, that would not upset Brock. Brock only really cares about at this point in time is his $500,000 payday that he's getting for showing up to WWE. That's so.
He's just in it for the check, though, isn't he? Basically, now that's all.
That's on him. That's fine. He has certainly earned the right to do that. But
it's a kind of a big finger up to the fans, though, isn't it? Really?
Not really.
Not
really. No. Because again, as it later came out that from a slightly more reliable source, although I love how the inside wrestling source. I mean, they're obviously can't put their name to it because they would get fired, or blackballed. I'm sure WWE has the one in the company. Everyone knows the island of misfit toys. Like you get to set some department where. There's no hope of ever getting out of. No one wants to get sent there, so that's why no one will ever speak out publicly on these things, or at least put names to quotes to whatever internet wrestling journalists there are. But it came out that Brock Lesnar's ongoing contract negotiation, was the reason why he walked out on Raw, and that puts serious doubt as to is Brock Lesnar gonna can honor the remaining 5 dates on his contract, including WrestleMania.
Wait, well, how would you call it? How are you going to call it then? What do you think he is?
I think he shows up to WrestleMania. I think it could get to the point where it could get so acrimonious where he does not show up to any remaining Raws, and they just build the match through Heyman until they could negotiate that. And then, he shows up to WrestleMania and works a subpar match than what he could have worked, and he leaves, boos, and probably never comes back to the company ever again. I think right now that's what it could happen, but I really hope that they find some way. Here's what I think ultimately what this was. Him walking out was a power play. It really was. If this is an ongoing contract negotiation, that's really the one thing he could do. And it's while I respect the move as like negotiating tactic, it was the wrong move to do because it was highly unprofessional. It was, again, the one rule in taboo in wrestling is you don't violate an appearance from when you say you're going to be there, when you're actually in the building and you don't do whatever.
You don't go back on your word, basically. I wasn't in the creative decision or whatever that led to it. I'm not in, we don't know, but I just I think that's a real unprofessional move to walk out of a show 20 minutes before. Like, I can understand you're having your contract negotiations. I don't know whatever was said, unless like Vince McMahon insulted his mother or his wife or his children or something like that.
He did a Wayne Rooney basically.
Yeah, it was just really, really strike me as an unprofessional, and I thought Brock would at least have more respect for the business than that. Being that he is the WWE champion, being that he is a senior member of the roster, he has been around for a while. Okay, granted he left, but he came back, but he has been around for a while.
We expected better, basically.
Yeah, exactly. I would expect that he would at least have a little bit more respect for the fans. Am I surprised by this? Less so, because Brock Lesnar has really appeared to be a guy that does whatever is best for Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar felt that was best for Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar's going to be out. So
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised though.
The thing is about Lesnar. I agree. The thing is, I wouldn't be surprised, and I wouldn't put it past Lesnar, knowing his past differences with the WWE, and the fact that
that they're gonna build this like he'll show up to WrestleMania, but they're gonna entirely build the next.
He'll phone it in.
Couple episodes of Raw, and not even phone it in. They're just gonna do it through Heyman. He's not even gonna be there. He's not gonna be there. He's gonna show up in San Francisco or Santa Clara, California, on the 31st or on the 29th of March, and do his job. Put over Roman Reigns as best as he can. Maybe not as much as wholeheartedly as he would. Would he have a contract already negotiated with the WWE beforehand? So I think that's what's going to happen. I think that's what we should all prepare ourselves for. I think we might have seen the last of Brock Lesnar in the WWE beyond WrestleMania, because you know how they are with contract negotiations in the WWE. And if it was the rumored sticking point that Brock does want the option to be in both the UFC and the WWE at the same time, then
bye Brock Lesnar.
We just got to accept that, because I don't think that's something that Vince McMahon is ever going to allow any talent to do, work for. I mean, unless it's movies.
No way.
Yeah, exactly. He made sure Batista and all that stuff, they got the MMA bug out of him when they came back. Bobby Lashley, he would never let Bobby Lashley compete MMA and work professional wrestling at the same time. So Brock Lesnar's as big of a talent as they could get, and Brock Lesnar is a talent they entirely built themselves. So but I still don't see them ever letting that happen.
And the reason why I agree on this is because I don't think, at the moment, I think WrestleMania is in the air. It's up in the air, and Vince needs to do whatever he can for damage control, because Vince put his foot in it. I think Brock was promised a few things, and then they negated on those things. Hence the reason why Brock walks.
It was all you one.
Yeah. And the problem with that is Brock only appeals to one person.
Brock does what's best for Brock and Brock's family. That's been the one thing that we've noticed since he came back to the WWE, or since he's even been in UFC. He not going to take a fight unless it was, the right guy for the right money.
It says Brock is as Brock does.
Brock is going to do what Brock is going to do. He thought when he was in the WWE, he thought going to the Minnesota Vikings was the better move, because he can make same amount of money or more and do less work. This has been historically what he has done. So I'm not surprised by this. Like I said, I wouldn't even be surprised if this gets even to the point where they're like, okay, you're not going to come back. There's no point in doing it.
Surprised, just disappointed.
We're gonna drop the title to you on Monday Night Raw to Daniel Bryan, and Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns for the WWE title at WrestleMania. Daniel Bryan comes in as champion, puts over Roman Reigns, and then Seth Rollins cash.
Yeah, no, I agree. The thing is, as I said about this previously, you know, I feel that their go-to, and I think one of the reasons why they've kept Bryan away from WrestleMania for now, is to kind of see what happens. Hence the reason why, because I believe, by all intents and purposes, you know, is that they believe that if Brock Lesnar, because on all intents and purposes, I believe they were going to turn Daniel Bryan heel and make it a three-way. I think what they're going to do now is if Brock doesn't play ball, they're going to do a title switch. And it will end up...
The Santa Clara screw job. Brock fails to do business. Brock doesn't want to drop the belt to Roman Reigns. Brock says he'll drop it to Seth Rollins on Monday Night Raw. Mike Chioda got to do the Dusty Pit. Oh, it's got this. Oh, I can see it happening. I think we just came up with a name for an episode title too, the Santa Clara Screwjob.
But that's the thing behind this. I think that's kind of what they're doing. They've got Bryan as their plan B, but Lesnar's still their plan A. Because they want Lesnar to, and everybody say it together, make Roman Reigns look
strong.
Exactly.
Real strong.
Real strong. Nick, take it away. Give us your opinion.
They could be. I don't know what Brock's gonna do. I would think that Brock would do business, but I doubt this is some insane, like, over-the-top work, and they're working everybody. But I think it could be very well a case that Brock is just gonna stink the fucking joint up at WrestleMania. He'll show up at WrestleMania, but if he's gonna stink the fucking joint up if he wants to.
It's not where he's gonna want to. He's just gonna be like, okay, whatever, do whatever you want, man. Just go.
I just got a really quick random tangent because I didn't know this happened until someone just sent me a message. Holy shit, Mr. Spock died.
You didn't know? Oh yeah, you didn't know that today. Yeah, I was gonna reference it at the beginning of the show, try and do like, you know, of all the people, of all the souls I encountered, his was the most human. But I decided to go happy and with Ric Flair.
Sorry, I obviously didn't know that, so that was just popped in there on my feed just then, and I was just kind of I don't know how I feel about that. I'm quite upset.
The world is a little less happy.
It's a little colder.
We're just trying to remember the memories at this point in time. You know, I'll watch.
But remember, they have their ace in the hole if Brock doesn't want to do business at WrestleMania, not make Roman look real strong. Seth Rollins.
Yeah, no.
Well, they also have the Money in the Bank.
Oh wait, that could be. Oh, never mind, sir. I don't even want that. I want that to happen now. That's what really needs to happen, because I think
if the one just thing said that, it's like Brock who.
Yeah, Brock who. Yeah, exactly. It's now's the time to pull the trigger on Seth Rollins.
Yes.
If ever they get sure on that. If I'm Seth Rollins, I'm like, yes.
I think he's the plan C. He's the plan C, and I think the reason why they haven't pulled the trigger on him yet is because of the fact that we just went through Dickgate.
Yeah.
And you know what though? I think a guy, it's a little bit different. Like, it's not like it was only one picture. It wasn't like multiple pictures, and you didn't see his butthole.
Yep.
I've seen.
It wasn't like he's in a video.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, exactly. So it's not like he did it himself. He was clearly compromised.
Yeah, and that's the big thing here. I think the safe bet for Plan B would be Bryan at the moment, and I think what they would probably do,
if they have to go to a Plan B.
Yeah, and I think what they would do is probably have Brock. They'd probably strip him of the title, do a tournament on Raw or something, have Reigns in that. Yeah, have Reigns in the tournament, and I would love to see like Paul Heyman come out when Bryan's in the main event against, like, say what, someone like Ziggler, and Paul Heyman, you know, have Paul side with Bryan, costs Ziggler the championship. Bryan wins. Bryan basically goes on as the world champion to go to Mania. You know, does all this hammy stuff about why he turned on the fans, blah blah blah. Even though he's going to be fucking so over, and the fans are going to cheer from him.
I think if they do that, if they side, that's a good way to kill off the yes chants, though. Like,
I don't think they will. When he was heel before, he was doing the yes chants, and people just still went behind him. You know.
Yeah, but I mean, when he was the heel, who was he really going up against? Like, he was just kind of like the smarmy kind of heel. He was going up against guys that weren't really that too super over anyway. It wasn't like it wasn't like the Undertaker was chasing him and stuff like that. Like, he was clearly more, even though he was working heel, he was clearly more of the fan favorite. But like I said, if they have to go to a plan B, those are definitely 3 potential options. I don't think it will go to this way. I think, like Nick does, I think just Brock's going to go in there. This negotiation will be long and protracted, and he's just not going to show up anymore. Just kind of be a big fuck you to the WWE, and fuck you to everybody else. I'll just come show up at WrestleMania, drop your belt.
I don't think he would do that. I think with Lesnar, if they don't play ball, he's not going to play ball. I don't think.
I think at this point in time, maybe one of the first people he started talking to after he left that arena in was it Nashville? Yeah, Nashville on Monday was Dana White, Joe Silva, and Lorenzo Fertitta. So I think those were the first people I think he went to. Or it was rumored that even Bellator may even be. Like, that he could even use this situation as negotiation to try and pit all 3 companies against each other. Because, I mean, obviously, if a company like Bellator that wants to gain as much ground as they can on UFC and be recognized as, like, the real number 2 MMA promotion in the world, and especially in this country, getting a guy like Brock Lesnar definitely helps that. But who knows? I don't know if Brock Lesnar's people are really that cunning. I really think he wants to go back to the UFC because he has something to prove to himself and to people that doubted his MMA career. That said he was just a fluke. I think this is what it is. I think he really wants to do that, but he would also like the option of working at the WWE at the same time. But if he has to choose between the two.
Well, he knows he's no spring chicken. He knows he's no spring chicken. He knows the UFC.
That's exactly why he would want to go do the UFC thing. He's
because he's going to have one. He's going to have.
I can always go back.
It's not the other WWE. Well, which is if he's no spring chicken and and he wants to go to go there. Well, it could bite him in the ass, if you know what I mean, because that is definitely a young man's sport.
Well, I mean. Yeah, it's a young man's sport, but when you're, Brock Lesnar, I don't think age really has anything to do with it.
Well, I'm just saying it might not be the...
When you physically outweigh everybody in your division by 20 pounds, sometimes, there's nothing age.
I think it could bite me in the ass.
I don't think it's going to go as well as Brock thinks if he goes to the UFC, but I think he wants to prove it to himself, and I don't think there's anything that's going to stop him.
Yeah, because Lesnar doesn't need the money, and this is what people don't get. Lesnar is probably even richer than guys like Punk.
It's not about the money. It's not about the money for him. It has nothing to do with money. It's like people
Brock
say,
can just sit back and... enjoy time in Minnesota with his wife and his kids and hunt whenever the fuck he wants, fish, whatever. And not give a flying fuck.
And you know what? Mr. Retronim says it as well. He goes, WrestleMania would end in a sea of boos, and I doubt it Reigns won't win it by the end. I want to see Samoa Joe versus Kevin Owens. And that's another thing. If Bryan loses to Reigns at Mania, that could be very detrimental to Reigns. So maybe they could go by the logical point and have Lesnar be like taken out or something, and Rollins cashes in before Mania.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think. Of those possible scenarios, I thought Rollins makes the most sense because right now we saw with the Daily Show, with his appearance on the Daily Show, you know, people recognized him when he came out. Like, you know, there was legitimate reaction for that. I thought. I don't know how many wrestling fans were actually in the crowd for the Daily Show that episode, but they seemed like they genuinely recognized who he was. He puts himself over on national cable television, worldwide cable television, to an audience of fans that didn't know who he was. I think now's the time, man. I think.
Well, that's another thing as well. The segment went off without a hitch. I laughed.
Yeah, exactly.
It didn't seem like...
it went off with a slight hitch. They cut 1 second too soon because you see him let Jon Stewart out of the headlock and smile and laugh it off. Like you clearly tell he was geeking the entire time for the entire.
Yeah, and that's going on from that. As Mr. Retroano mentioned, Samoa Joe is currently a free agent. He's basically is gone from TNA. We talked about this a little last week, I believe, that Miguel hinted to it. And now
I thought he was going back to ROH, is what I heard.
He's on a pay per appearance, which means he's not under contract. He's not under contract to ROH. He's currently in a negotiation with the WWE, but no one's saying what. He's in negotiation with New Japan as well as other independent companies, such as Lucha Underground. But at the moment, I think more than likely, he's looking at the WWE. He has people backing him. He has Triple H.
He's got friends there.
Yeah.
He's got, that's I think gonna be a major coup for WWE.
And he's not a spring chicken at the moment as well. So they they'll get him in, and they'll
a talented guy, and they
but that's the thing is he could be the workhorse that the company needs, who they'll eventually put the belt on, but he wouldn't be the guy. He would be someone that they could probably put in as a monster heel they could push.
He could be what's known in like they call it in MMA as known as a gateway guy, a guy that you have to go through to put yourself onto the title platform and stuff like that. Whether that requires them to put a belt on him to get recognized that, or just him like Ruseving people, just like destroying everybody that's put in front of him until, it's affirmed that this guy is a legit, tough guy motherfucker. What it is though is a major, kind of slap in the face to TNA's building or Impact Wrestling's burgeoning momentum, because he was a featured part of that Beatdown Club stable, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And now
basically their version of New Japan's Bullet Club.
Yeah.
And
Bullet Club.
The reason,
too sweet.
Yeah, and the reason why he left was
soldier.
because the company negated on his contract because they didn't want to pay him, as they stated they wanted to invest in new talent, which I can understand from their point of view, but I don't see it. None of that money has yet to put new talent on the company.
I mean, it depends on what new talent that they're developing. I mean, what new talent is really out there. I mean, I know some people that I would like to see in TNA that I certainly think can get over, but they're mostly my friends. So of course I think that. Like I can name 12 people right now that I think would be absolutely fucking fantastic on TNA. But they're all my friends or people I've met, so I'm certainly not the most biased individual in the world.
You're a good man.
So,
but that's that's what I do. Though I know guys that are, I think, on that cusp. JT Dunn is one of those guys that I've mentioned. JT Dunn on the podcast before. JT Dunn is one of those guys who I think is right on that cusp of all he needs is a company just to give him a shot on TV, and I think he could get over. Whether that's Ring of Honor, whether that's going to be Impact Wrestling, I think Dunn will impress people. Shout out to the man, JT Dunn.
So let's talk about that a little, right? And bring
how
that
about the fact that WWE potentially signing just Samoa Joe is going to be a major coup, and they're going to get him for like relatively cheap. Like, they're not getting him in the prime of his career where, like, they would have to pay a little more. They could, get him on a relatively affordable deal, I think. I think this is like, Dave, I want to use a football analogy here, so you get ready for this. This is like City signing Frank Lampard up from Chelsea. It's a deal that makes sense. He's available. Sign him up.
And what a season he had, sorry.
And what a season he's gonna have, exactly. So
let's do a little brainstorming session. If it was you, and you had the WWE money, and I was Vince McMahon,
I'm the guy with the pencil.
Yeah, I'm Vince McMahon. They say, "Okay, Brandon, you've got the money, you've got the booking. I want you to go to the Independents, and I want you to bring me those stars." Bring me those guys that will be the WWE's next big stars, god damn it. What would you do?
Well, other than I would resist the opportunity I'll give you and put on all my friends.
I would give you 5 guys. You have 5 choices, 40? Brandon. 5 choices, or you'll join the Kiss My Ass Club. I'll make you kiss my cheeks, god damn it.
JT Dunn. Anthony Gangone. I think is a guy who's worthy of spot, and I just think it's a great talent that's out there. Fuck, god damn it. I know Chris Caden's gonna be helping. Chris Caden wants to be in that group, but I don't think it's Chris Caden. Bobby Sapphire, my man Bobby Sapphire, who just got married over the weekend, aka Ken Crofton. Shout outs to Ken and Laura. Happy anniversary, or wedding, festive nuptials. May your first child be a masculine one. Bobby Sapphire, definitely, I think, is a guy that not a lot of people know about. Number 4, are you ready for this one? Dick Justice. If you don't know who Dick Justice is, look it up. It is I tell you, one of the greatest things in the independent wrestling scene right now. Dick
Justice. The greatest name in the world ever. I've just decided I'm going to change my name by default to Dick.
So what did I say? I was Dunn, Bobby Sapphire, Gangone, Dick Justice, and then a 5th would be Team Tremendous, Dan Barry, and Bill Carr. I don't know if you can really count Bill Carr, because Bill Carr's already been in the WWE system. But there you go.
So let's bring the conversation over to NXT now. Let's bring the conversation to NXT.
Yes.
Would Samoa Joe fit fine in NXT system?
Fuck yes!
But he would fit fine. And my problem is, like, I mean, are they just gonna, like, go for the obvious Joe Owens? Are they gonna go for the obvious Joe versus Atami too? Are they gonna go for the obvious? Not really, less obvious. I was gonna say, I forget who that third person could be. Joe Balor, obvious. I mean, beyond that,
Kevin Owens.
We need a bad guy wrestler.
Joe versus Owens. Do you imagine Joe and Owens killing each other in that ring? I mean, literally.
Yeah, I don't know if that building is big enough to hold a match. Like, that crowd would literally blow the roof off that.
That would be like the NXT equivalent. It would be the NXT equivalent to Cena versus The Rock.
That building is too small.
Yeah, that would be the NXT equivalent to Cena versus The Rock at WrestleMania. The crowd would fucking go nuts.
Yeah, it would be half and half. I mean, that building is too small to contain that match. That match has to be 18,000 people in an arena or larger. Just doesn't 2,000 people or whatever, 4,000 people, whatever they fit into the Full Sail arena.
Mm-hmm.
Does not do that match justice. The same thing with Joe and Atami. You know, those guys had an iconic match in ROH in New York City. A match I wish I was at, but I was not. Because I was poor.
Just $1 a week, people.
Yeah.
Helps Mr. Liggian.
$1 a week. $1 a week can send me to Japan, so I get to watch Japan.
But that's the thing. Like, speaking of that, speaking of like Joe's place. Now let's go on to, like, you know, Dave. You know who Samoa Joe is. Do you think, in all logic, I'm giving you the Miguel position here. Do you think he's a WWE guy? Do you think the WWE are going to latch onto Joe and not make the same mistake they did with AJ Styles?
I think they're not going to. I'm going to be honest, but I think they should. I think he's definitely a WWE guy. But I'd be very surprised if they welcome him into the fold and make him, you know, bankable.
Nick, what about you?
He definitely in NXT. Joe's another one of those guys, and I'm just looking at it from the perspective that, remember, not everybody in NXT is a former indie guy. That is NXT's basically the spot for them to really homegrow their guys. So when you bring in a guy like Samoa Joe or a Kevin Owens or a Finn Balor, you're really giving a lot of these younger guys someone to actually learn off of. So Joe would definitely be a good fit there, and I mean he'd get fast tracked to the main roster, but the way that the main roster is booked, I'd rather see him stay down in NXT.
Yeah. And that's the shame. It's the same thing with Hitami, who they're actually expressing the fact that they may bring Hitami up, you know. And Balor, apparently they want to bring him up as well. They've got, Vince is looking at these guys. They're no spring chickens. They're about my age, they're in their 30s. Do you think...
Boo-hoo, Burhan, I'm 1 year away from being 40. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not Vince. If Vince looked at you and said, "Hey, he's 40 years old. He's done," that would be Vince. But he's looking for guys who can be.
I think
big
Joe,
guys now.
I think Joe is at the right age where he's like can't be any older than 35. I think.
Yeah, he's another guy which I don't think they'll probably put him on NXT for maybe a month, 2 months.
Yeah, exactly. They'll say he made his debut on NXT, the Independents,
and bring him up.
Wrestling worldwide sensation. They'll call him Samoa Joe because of reference,
Or they might call him something else. They might not even call him Samoa Joe. They might call him something else.
Samosa Joe.
Samosa Joe. That sounds like Vince McMahon.
Can you imagine? I hate that.
Joe Samoa.
It's got to be something where it's got to be like where it can rhyme in the cadence of something's gonna kill you.
Yeah. Or they just put the face paint on him and call him Umaga.
Umaga 2.
Go,
Umaga
Joe.
2.
Umaga Dos.
Revenge.
The
Umaga
revenge.
2.
He's back from the grave.
He's Umaga 2. I think Samoa Joe really is a generic term, and
I'm telling you, Samosa Joe. He could, halfway through the wrestling, he could advertise.
Do you know what? To get away from the branding, they'll just call him Joe.
Polynesian hope.
Joe.
Yeah, Joe. Joe's gonna kill you. Joe from Samoa.
But this is the thing. What do you
Polynesian
think?
Joe.
In terms of Joe,
I think you should go with Polynesian Joe. I think it's got a certain kind of sass in it.
well, let's segue from Joe for a second and go on to NXT. Kevin Owens was on this episode of NXT. Did anyone watch it? Well, I know Brandon did. I know Nick watched it. Lawn Boy, you're missing out on something gold, man. You've got to watch it. You've got that subscription. Watch WWE Network.
Well, in my defence, I've been without power for one third of a day.
I know, but I watched it during the Untitled Movie Show, as you could tell.
Yeah, I know.
I watched it when it was streaming live, supposedly live. The thing about it is,
that's so unprofessional and rude. Just for that, I'm going to watch Netflix right now.
You should do. No, you should watch wrestling content right now. You're on a wrestling podcast. I'm currently talking to our guest for I Got Gameplay. I'm currently talking to our I Got Gameplay guest for next week, making sure that he's what day that he's going to be on the podcast. But I want to point this out, guys.
Captain Multitasker.
I am Captain Multitasker. I'm like the guy in Ninja Scroll who was giving orders and fucking that woman at the same time.
What a guy.
What's going on with the army? For those people who've actually watched Ninja Scroll would probably know what I'm talking about. But yeah.
Oh my God, it's basically Ace Rimmer.
Roman Joe, Sloppy Joe, and Joe Kishi.
Joe Kishi.
This is all comedy gold from Retro Unlim, by the way, people. The whole
Polynesia Joe.
The whole thing with the show came off really well. We had the returning Brian Kendrick, who we talked about this. This guy is a star. He's an underrated star because he had the it factor. He's
certainly a unique talent. I wouldn't really call him a star. He's certainly a unique
dude. He was
talent
if Shawn Michaels can be called a star, the Brian Kendrick can be called a star.
He definitely had a lot of the Shawn Michaels. Talent,
he had that chip on his shoulder. He did the pairing with him and Ezekiel Jackson was fun, and I'll tell you why it was great, because when everybody else was fighting, he sat there and he cut an amazing promo talking about the fact that Sun Tzu's The Art of War dictates that you are there to study your enemy, and he's like, I will study my enemies, and I will use their moves against them. I remember watching that promo with awe. I was having an orgasm watching that promo, and the reason being, as a wrestling fan, it spoke to me, and it showed so many layers from Brian Kendrick. He went from being this little shit that Brock Lesnar destroyed to being this guy who had a personality. He had layers, and they never allowed him to grow. That was the first and last time he cut a promo before every single fucking night he was getting squashed. He got transferred to Raw, he still got squashed. You know?
Sorry, I kind of got lost. I was looking at pictures. My friend Matty Ming is at the MSG show right now, and he just posted a picture of Paige. And
that's my job. Shut up. She's my bird, all right? She's English. You're not allowed to touch her because she's English. I'm pretty sure it says in the contract you can only bone her if you've got a UK passport. And that was your creepy Page moment of the week.
Yeah, I think I might have done it because your thing seems to be a reoccurring thing. See, the creepy Page moment of the week should be go to like new moments of Page creepy. And we're actually talking about
a soundbite for that, by the way. We've got a soundbite for
It'd just be her screaming, "This is my house."
We need a soundbite for the creepy Page moment of the week.
Which is also something I came up with.
Not allowed to say the word Page followed by the word cave in the same sentence. Sorry. But a bunch. I can do this all night.
But cha. Anyway,
yeah. When it's got Page, I could do it all night, literally.
Oh man. No, sorry.
I've got plenty of these.
I wanted to go to the show tonight.
Well, you know, that's in terms of NXT, the way that the show ended though.
No, I want to know what who's going to be the next guy to go, because we saw Rhino the week before.
Mm-hmm. Well, Rhino apparently is permanently on NXT now, so he's being built up as kind of a trainer / opponent. For the next guys.
He is a trainer, and he's also.
I believe the Brian Kendrick is in the same position.
He's gonna be actually working with guys. That's good, because I like the fact that Kendrick is staying relevant and not having to.
Well, he was great. He looked great. In terms of.
I remember him having a decent run in TNA. I didn't watch it, but I just remember it not being laughable. He was allowed to be a little bit more creative, I guess you could say. I've always admired his personality and stuff like that outside of the ring. He seems like a guy I would get along with. We have a lot of similar interests.
We got more Joe names. The Big Joe. Whoa, that it's the Big Joe. Joe Kozuna.
It's the Big Joe. Okay,
Samed Joe. And Joe Samo. Or Joe Schmo. There we go. We got another one.
Or just we gotta name specific Samoan islands of Joe, Micronesia Joe.
A Polynesian
Joe. I don't even know other Tuvalu Joe. Is Tuvalu a Samoan island? I don't even know what Tuvalu is.
Asian area of the globe, Joe.
Shout out to all our people in Tuvalu that listen to the show. And people are looking up Tuvalu.
And let's ask in terms of the next guy in NXT. I think Finn Balor, his time, if they keep him there, will come. Hitami's time will come. I just don't see these two guys.
How long are this? Are they really going to keep these guys on there before the main roster comes on?
I don't think they will.
Guys that have already been in New Japan, guys like Balor and Itami have been in New Japan. They've already worked massive dome shows before.
Yeah.
They're used to being out there in the crowd. They know how to work. They're just basically getting the WWE style down, I guess you could say. But how long before these guys have to come up? And then when these guys come up, then what happens? They're going to need to create. Eventually, they're going to have so many guys under a certain weight limit that they're going to have to create some sort of junior heavyweight title. I think. Just basically
Balor Itami alone.
I think the United States and the Continental Championships will be used as that. I think Balor and Itami could probably give you the next Macho Man Steamboat, in my opinion. They already did have a match on that quality in New Japan. So. No, but I mean in the WWE. If it's not in Vince's bubble, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't count.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
It doesn't count. It doesn't unless it happens inside a WWE squared circle. Yeah, see, I don't jive with that, man. Like, these guys already had a great match. Fuck, it's gonna be awesome.
So, on the topic of next, Alex Riley.
Yeah, no, I was multitasking and I was watching Spock's death. It just felt relevant.
Right, so Dave, let's ask you actually quickly. Did NXT? We had a position. Alex Riley went from being a commentator to now it looks like he's going back into professional wrestling again. He was thrown over the table by Owens to make a point. Do you think that Alex Riley could make a splash on the WWE main roster again? Looking at how he was treated previously, because you probably saw when he was like with the Miz, and then once he separated from the Miz, he kind of disappeared.
Well, this makes me sound like, because I know that I'm the newbie here, but this makes me sound like an arsehole, but I just no, not main roster anymore.
Nick?
Just can't see it.
Nick?
For Alex Riley,
I think he's got oodles of potential. I think he's someone who hasn't been tapped as potential yet, and I think
got potential. I just don't see them letting it happen.
He could be the next NXT champion at some point, not now. I think they've created
again, sort of.
Yeah, they've created all these feuds between him and Owens, and they're creating all these little feuds. Like Owens is pissing everybody off on the NXT roster. He seems to be his role, is to just piss everyone off. Yep. And create as many enemies as possible.
What did I tell you when this guy first came in? I'm telling you, they're going to book him like the next Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's just going to be that guy everybody hates, but you can't deny when this guy gets in the ring and when this guy gets on the mic that it's not entertaining and it's not the most compelling thing to watch. You saw it this week when he threw Alex Riley over the table. That deafening silence when he does something. Shock and awe. I haven't seen wrestling fans react like that since Brian Pillman pulled out a gun.
Yeah.
and tried to shoot Steve Austin. Like, there wasn't that much shock and awe from people. I just think, I think Alex Riley has the tools to get there. I don't know if he's going to be, gifted that chance to give an actual legitimate run.
Yep.
It will be a shame that if a guy who has his level of athletic ability, his greatest accomplishment in the WWE was being at the Miz's side in the WrestleMania main event with The Rock. I don't ever think he's gonna, get a main event push or something like that, or anything resembling a push. But he could work his way back up to the main roster to be like a Zack Ryder kind of guy, enhancement talent, wrestle catering every night. Speaking of Zack Ryder, by the way, I don't know if people pay attention to this. There's a hilarious, I don't know if this is Twitter beef or just two guys trying to, work something out on social media to try and get attention. But Zack Ryder and Adam Rose have been like sniping at him. I'm really only paying attention to Zack Ryder's side because I don't know if I follow Adam Rose on Twitter. But Zack Ryder has like hilarious jabs at Adam Rose. Like,
that's another guy. I don't understand why they don't put him in NXT. Why is he just? He's literally every single time I see Zack Ryder, it's Zack Ryder versus catering.
He's a guy. I'm sure he gets a lot of work on house shows. I'm sure he gets his healthy 15 minutes, 20 minutes a night.
Yeah, but he's probably jobbing to someone on house shows, and that's the problem. And he's another guy that got so over, and they just crushed him. Yeah,
no, we've definitely covered that to death.
Yeah, we have.
But it's a guy who's trying to get his. But I think like what I thought the highlight of this Twitter war was I can lose 1 million followers and still have 500,000 more than Adam Rose.
Joey Somoza is another one there for you.
Joey Somoza.
Oh, we could have him as a rosebud and call him Adam Joes.
Oh.
Joe. Oh, Joe.
God.
Oh.
I think we're I think we're killing this joke. I obviously think the clear
Dude, we buried
name
this joke.
for
This
Samoa
joke,
Joe.
this joke was basically like hit with a shovel by Triple H.
This Joe was run over.
Well, we
this
stole
Joe was run
Triple
over by a
H's shovel
car.
Yeah. This
after it was
joke
stolen by the Royal Rumble crowd in Philadelphia.
this joke dropped to Rob Lesnar in like 15 minutes at WrestleMania.
This joke was hit by a car with Rikishi driving it.
Yes, because he's a bad man. This joke basically ate the foot of Jerry Lawler and then puked.
Okay.
This joke then found Christ and then drunk a bottle of courage.
Yeah.
We've
now beating a joke.
It's Otis money.
This joke basically left the WWE for football tryouts, married Rena Mero, and then went to the UFC and won the title.
We've beaten a joke about beating a joke to death.
This joke has gone to joke has gone to TNA and become irrelevant.
Meta level of bad humor. God damn it.
This joke has gone to TNA and jobbed and basically has been like dug so deep it can't come out of retirement. So there we go. Okay, so going off from NXT, Mr. Liggian, where do you see Alex Riley?
What? I just see him, at best at being like a guy who just is on the main roster, not having any really defined creative thing, unless they come up with some, award-winning gimmick as putting him with a stable of something, like, overachieving white guys with athletic ability.
Yep.
I really don't see it. I think the in-between limbo world of commentator or analyst personality / wrestler is his future, just to so he stays and has a job.
Well, Rich Arnhem said Joe the Ho, the whole effing Joe Sam Dam, Joseph of Samoa.
Sloppy Joe.
I think Joseph of Samoa is the winner.
Again, I clearly think the best choice is Polynesia Joe.
Polynesia. Or Joe
Polynesia
McMahon.
Joe, I just think
It could be Joe McMahon and just call him JM for short. Or Triple Joe.
Triple
Or HB Joe.
Go Joe, because knowledge is half the battle.
Or Road Joe.
Yes.
And he can come out to Baby Tonight. Or Badass Billy Joe. He could be a little bit country. He could be a little bit rock and roll. Okay, that's enough of that.
Just kill you.
He'll just kill you.
Just fucking kill you.
He'll probably ring us up and like, what did you say? I'm like, oh shit, I know your address. Oh fuck, Joe's gonna kill me. Anyway, going on from that, because we've kind of beat that dead horse.
How you doing, Joe?
That horse has basically got flies circling it now.
We have not only beaten that horse, we have then nuked its corpse.
Yeah,
We've basically the food chain.
We've basically nuked the fridge. Macho Joe, Randy Samoa. Macho Joe, Randy Samoa.
Sorry, it's got legs.
I mean,
it's
literally like if you can see a camera on me right now, it's the sullen shaking my head face.
Yeah,
beard's back here.
That just
I don't want
cracked me
to see a
up.
camera on you until your beard's back.
That should be a title of an episode of Slamcast, Macho Joe, Randy Samoan. So, going on from that, we've got to do the Ask Him, of course. So let's do the Ask Him, and then do our kayfabe news. Actually, let's do the kayfabe news article of the week. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have the kayfabe news article of the week. And speaking of Roman Reigns testing for roids, supposedly, kayfabe news had their take on this. And
I didn't. All right, I know I've been.
It was rumored as debunked. It's not.
Yeah, it was debunked because
it didn't happen.
It never happened. It was someone trying to start basically saying crap when they shouldn't have said
their
crap.
own rumor. It's someone's trying to start their own rumor, like anything.
There's two articles, and we're gonna go.
I should know because I tried to start a rumor once in wrestling that the Miz got kicked off the set of the Marine whatever.
Well, basically, the rumor was around that Roman Reigns tested for steroids. Now, kayfabe news debunked this rumor, and they debunked it and said that WWE plans its extravaganza WrestleMania and have been seriously derailed after Roman Reigns, scheduled to compete in a main event championship match against Brock Lesnar, has been suspended for 60 days for failing, and it wasn't a steroid test, he failed an IQ test. It was mandated by the company's wellness policy. Leaked documents reveal Reigns obtained a negative score on an IQ test, meaning he is no longer legally allowed to compete in the WWE to fight injustice or walk menacingly down the staircase through large crowds of people. The company instigated...
Hang on, is this for real?
No, this is kayfabe news.
Just gonna say,
the company instigated a mandatory IQ testing. The company instigated a mandatory IQ testing after a number of high-profile scandals revealed that many WWE superstars were using dangerous levels of performance-enhancing stupidity to perform ill-advised stunts and ham-fisted backstage skits. WWE has three-strike policy for superstars who fail an IQ test. If Reigns fails to score a second time, he'll go 90-day suspension without pay. A third failure will mean that he is released from the WWE and sent back to kindergarten. Reigns will be out of action until the end of April, which means WWE matchmakers are scrambling to find a suitable opponent for Lesnar. Until recently, Daniel Bryan seemed like the right man for the job, but Bryan adamantly insisted on live television that he's nowhere near the caliber of wrestler that Reigns is. While the company has yet to find a new opponent for Lesnar, many fans believe the only viable contender is the heavily armed battalion of US Navy SEALs. And that was the first article from kayfabe news. Let's do a second one because that didn't get Brandon going yet. It
was ridiculous.
Brock Lesnar walks out on Raw on hind legs. The primatologist was stunned this week when a rare albino mountain gorilla named Brock stood up on its hind legs and, in what seemed to be an act of higher intelligence, walked upright out of a Nashville arena. This enormous simian navigated a number of backstage hallways and corridors, demonstrating the balance of a spatial reasoning that are highly uncommon among primates when they walk upright. The beast seemed to be intimidating, literally aping its human counterparts at World Wrestling Entertainment, where the trained animal occasionally performs in a man versus animal sideshow act. The gorilla's handler, a carny named Paul E. Heyman, said he is constantly amazed by the human-like characteristics of the animal, which Heyman personally captured 15 years ago in the jungles of Congo. Brock eventually calmed down and resumed his usual knuckle-dragging slouch, but only after emitting several predactyl shrieks and brutally ripping both arms of a hapless Zack Ryder, who unfortunately got between the beast and the catering table. It is unclear why the gorilla decided to walk out on WWE Raw this past Monday, though Heyman indicated the animal has very sensitive nose and dislikes the smell of bad booking. What did you think of that one, Brandon? You didn't like that one?
I don't know.
Okay, let's do one more to see if we can get him. Let's see if we can get him on this one. Okay? Let's see if we can get one on this one. I've got another one.
It made me laugh. I wasn't making me laugh externally.
Okay.
I kind of chuckled, maybe.
Okay.
We can still do the gimmick. I could still sell it,
No. We've got to make you laugh. Let's do another one. Let's do one more. Because I think I've got one. I think I've got one that can count of a Paige moment of the week. Let's see. Paige hospitalized after collapsing under the weight of her eyeshadow. Popular WWE diva Paige was rushed to Memphis area's hospital this morning after reportedly collapsing under the immense weight of her own eye makeup. According to eyewitnesses, Paige's last name unknown was applying the third coat of black eyeshadow around her left eye when both her knees buckled under the strain. Paige is in stable condition in Memphis General Hospital, and the doctors are using pressure washers to carefully blast away her mascara layer by layer.
Carefully blast away.
Okay, yeah, that got me.
Reads a press release by WWE.com. The family wishes her speedy recovery, and we assure the WWE Universe that her future makeup usage will be within wellness policy guidelines. Paige tweeted a selfie from hospital that depicted her deeply sunken eyes, shattered legs, and bruised face. Millions of male wrestling fans then immediately tweeted that they would still happily tap that. Doctors are also reportedly providing Paige with emergency pigment transplant. So that, ladies and gentlemen, was your kayfabe news article of the week. Sponsored by kayfabenews.com, where wrestling's still real to us.
Damn it!
There you go. That
Can
got
I
you
just
there.
quickly say, by the way, Mr. Harzak, that's the funniest thing I've ever seen. Vader Spock, Diamond Dallas Spock, Dwayne the Spock.
Joe, Sumo Joe. I bet Charlham's got loads more. Sumo Joe and Homo Joe.
Mojo.
He's constantly thinking about Joe stuff. It's
I've got the definitive.
What's that?
Homojo.
Or Hobo Joe. He could do like an XPW thing.
I like Polynesian Joe, man. I think that's
Yeah.
the best.
I got to be honest.
Polynesian
Actually, that's
Joe.
the best one.
Polynesia Joe. It's original.
Ladies and gents, if you want to basically comment on this show and more, go to our forum at facebook.com/Wrestle Revolution. It's our forum where we talk about everything wrestling. We've got over 71 members on the forum, including the amazing teacher rapper hero Megaran, who's on the,
and the amazing Mr. Steve Hatch.
Yes, who are both basically on the lovely
sexiest
forum.
man. This, as I'm contractually obligated to refer to him as the sexiest man in the cosmos, Heavenly Hatch Stevens.
Yes, and you can also
Nice.
Check out the funny comments that we have going on from Jeff Krupp, who seems to keep like talking about loads of WWE stuff that I have no idea what he's going on about.
Jeff just I think literally just pulls ideas out of his head and just types it. I don't even think he realizes whether it's like makes sense all that much. He just says, "Well, what if this happens?"
Or if you're
okay.
Or if you're Chris Jester, you talk about basically his love for Sasha Banks, which is she's my girl. Sasha Banks is mine, Jester. Remember that. Apparently, she's Snoop Dogg's cousin. I never knew this.
Yep.
Yeah, but no offense, every person is Snoop Dogg's cousin. Snoop Dogg's related to so many people. He's like a Dudley. He could have his own family. Just call them like the dogs. I'm a dog. You're a dog.
Dances with Doggy Dog.
Yes.
Sign guy Doggy Dog.
Sign guy Doggy Dog.
Doggy dog dog.
We seem to be doing this every week.
I tell our American hosts on this show that you don't believe this, but get this for sellout. He does car insurance commercials in the UK.
Yes, but it's in the UK. That's what you do. You can
I
also,
think that's
Him
amazing
going
because
through
because your government banned him from entering the country a few years ago.
yeah, he had a handgun on, didn't he? He had a handgun with him. That's the reason why.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why we don't allow people into this country. Is we allow everyone, including terrorists, into this country. The only people we don't allow is celebrities with handguns.
We'll give you a free house paid for by the taxpayer. That's what we do for terrorists.
Or we give you a job in IT, because apparently that whole hijab. What was the guy's name? Hijab Joe or whatever the fuck his name is.
It's Jihadi Joe.
Jihadi Joe. There you go. Why don't that could be Samoa Joe's new name? Jihadi Joe.
Oh
It's
god.
true and ever so slightly embarrassing, but we once gave a terrorist a job at MI5.
We did.
Seriously, true story.
We did, and
Hey, you guys banned the Westboro Baptist
His name is
Church,
Alec
so-
Trevelyan.
yeah, it's the fact that we
No
do.
one caught my Dynamite Bond reference.
I did,
You once gave a terrorist a job at MI6. His name was Alec Trevelyan.
but I'm sure.
Yeah. Nice.
The other terrorists we don't allow in this country are guys by the name of Mike Payden. Anyway, let's continue. Let's go on to our Ask Him, which was generated by us, by the way, which is an Ask Him, ladies and gentlemen. The name was created by somebody else, who I will name nameless, but I was the guy who made it what it was because I basically asked questions to the audience. I know it seems simplistic, but he didn't come up with it himself. I asked questions to the audience and then they replied back to me what they believe. Now here's the Ask Him for this week. We're basing this on the new World Tag Team Champions, of course.
The big pennies.
We talked about the new Tag Team Champions. Now here is what we're going to do. But we're not focusing on both of the members. We're focusing on one of them. Cesaro was a member of a tag team duo in Ring of Honor. Name the duo. Name his tag team partner. And also, for extra points, if it ties, name his name. Yes. So, again.
Ha 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 ha.
Yes.
Sorry.
Cesaro was a tag team champion in another company, Ring of Honor. Name the tag team partner that he had. Name the tag team. And name his former name in that company. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is I'll ask him. So let's go on to Fastlane results. So, Mr. Brandon Liggian, take us away and school us on Fastlane.
I mean, Fastlane was an alright pay-per-view. I don't really think we should really get into it, but I just want to the only thing I really can talk about, because I think a lot of it was just kind of throwaway moments. Daniel Bryan made Roman Reigns look as credible as anybody could make him.
Oh my God. That was fucking amazing. Bryan versus Reigns, when he basically, it reminded me of Shawn Michaels versus Hulk Hogan. He worked within Reigns' limitations, and it was a smash mouth Japanese style match on Bryan's side.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no. They definitely were not holding anything back in that match. So that's the first thing I think I can take away from Fastlane. Roman Reigns is definitely ready in the ring to have an A-level match with, I think, just about anybody out there. I think whether or not he's going to be calling the spots in those matches, that's completely different. But we'll see with that.
Should we go from the beginning of the paper to the end of the paper? Do you want me to tell you the matches and you go from there?
I don't really want. I don't think there was really nothing that really jumped.
Not really.
Out.
There was the Bellas match. Okay, we can say that was a throwaway. The Bellas versus Paige was ridiculous. I mean, for a women's match, it was kind of like it was like a sneeze. Literally, was like a sneeze. And the way
I remember being
the greatest descriptive term I've ever heard.
But if there's a reason why
bad.
If there's a reason why the Divas are angry, that would be it. You know, it was a sneeze. You know, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good.
It wasn't memorable.
Yeah, it wasn't given.
There was a lot of things on the card. No, I don't think it was. And I mean, maybe I just was upset, maybe because Paige didn't win.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I don't remember it as much. But I just, I don't really have an opinion either way about it. I only really had an opinion about really two things on the card. That was, the fact that I think Roman Reigns is ready after that match. That definitely proved that. And we saw John Cena lose a match technically by submission. Holy fuck, that happened. We were totally... I mean, yeah, granted, it was a bit of a schmoz ending. We got that little dusty finish there. But we saw John Cena lose a hold via... essentially giving up. His body gave up. Holy crap, we are entering in unforsaken, unseen territory right now.
Who was that?
I'm talking about Cena Rusev.
Yeah, that Cena... Rusev kicked him in the freaking... That was a really good match as well. From Cena versus Rusev.
I thought those are people. There were some people that I was talking to that believed that was the match of the night.
I don't agree.
I would disagree with them.
I think the main event was the match of the night. I think that was a main event caliber match, but it wasn't the match of the night. Do you agree?
No, no, absolutely. I agree. I think it was a great match, but it wasn't match of the night. I think Reigns, Daniel Bryan was match of the night. Beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. Now, let's talk a little bit about the tag team title match with the
I suppose I have an opinion
Cesaro and Kid, the AKA the Brass Ring Club, versus the Usos.
I love that name, by the way. I love that name.
So tell us about that a little bit, because that match saw two things. It saw a Natalya heel turn, and it saw these two capturing the tag team championships from the Usos, and beating them clean, nonetheless. So tell us a little bit about that, because this is Kid's second major title in the WWE, and I'm calling it a major title because the tag team titles are a major championship.
Tag titles are a major title. I consider that one of the. It doesn't have the same prestige as it used to.
Yeah, but it's still a major championship.
We can all agree that, but it's still a great title. Look, no, if anybody was more worthy of it, it's Tyson Kidd and Cesaro. I that's, I think, undeniable. I just hope that they give give them a proper shot and give them a proper run. I mean, this is a legitimate opponent for the Usos. The Usos really haven't had that. Like, the Mizdow feud was kind of like a throwaway thing. I think this could be a real long-term tag team feud until they eventually build up the Ascension, because, it's fucking obvious that that's going to happen.
Yeah, it's kind of like...
I mean, if the Ascension don't have the tag team titles by SummerSlam, they're behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, my opinion on this thing is, I think the whole thing with the WWE at the moment and the tag team division is they don't have very credible face teams, and for me, I think they have the Usos. They don't need to be tag team champions anymore. I think the Usos are that you might see these two teams trading the titles back and forth, but it shouldn't happen. I think they need to
absolutely. They're absolutely going to trade the titles back and forth.
But they need to bring back the Lucha Dragons, in my opinion. They need to bring the Lucha Dragons onto the main roster properly, get these guys to go for the tag titles and win, of course, and then give Sin Cara his first major championship in the company, because the guy's been on the roster for, 3 years now? He needs
longer than that.
Yeah,
he's been there almost 4 years.
Yeah, so he needs a shot. I'm glad.
Is it even still the original Sin Cara though?
No, it's Hunico.
Yeah, so it's not even the original.
He was Sin Cara. His Sin Cara. What was it called? Like Sin Cara Negra.
Yes, Sin Cara Negra when they did
Sin Cara Negra. Yeah.
By the way, more names. Bizarre. King, managed by Hormonal Joe.
What the hell?
Oh God, what are we doing?
We should literally do like a...
What do we do with our lives?
I don't know. We should... I mean, if we had like if this was at midnight and this was our hashtag of the week, it would be alternate reverse names for Samoa Joe. We would be retweeting everything Steven says.
Yes. So basically we're on that. Mr. Stephen Richards basically got the Ask Him right, but I'm not going to count it. So I'm going to let...
I think he seems to be the only listener out there, so...
Well, I've hashtagged a few people on it at the moment. Yes, there you go. Dewey Anderson, you win. You are the winner. Ding, ding, ding.
Kings of Wrestling.
Claudio Clastaloni was his name. Chris Hero was his tag team partner, a.k.a. The other KO in NXT. Cassius Ohno. A.k.a.
The original KO.
The original KO. And they were called the Kings of Wrestling. So there you go.
Clap, 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 clap.
I love the fact that the crowd used to chant, "Oh no!" But yeah, it's a shame though. It's a shame he got released from the company. He was in WWE for a cup of coffee.
Cup of coffee.
A lot of the fact was one of the reasons why he was actually. It took a while for them to actually get him on the roster, was because he kept testing high for hormones, and the thing is, it was over the fact that he wasn't using growth. He had basically his hormone levels were really high. It's part of his own body and its DNA. The reason why he was released apparently was because he didn't want to train. He felt he was too good to kind of lose some weight, buff himself up, and that's a shame. I really feel that Chris Hero deserves to be on the WWE roster. He would be a rather credible heel, but he doesn't want to do anything to get himself in ring shape. He can go an hour in a match, but he's not WWE shape.
I think he chooses to operate a certain way and likes to live his life. I can't fault him for that. Yeah, he's a great talent, but if ultimately that's not where he wants to be at, then more power to him. Hey, he's putting my friends over, so
yeah, very true. And he's doing amazingly well in the independent scene in Japan and working.
Putting my friends over.
Now, going on from that,
yep.
Let's talk a little bit more about Fastlane. We had the Divas match, which was like a piss break.
Like I said, I think Kid and Cesaro deserve a lengthy run. Maybe not as long as the run as the Usos has had with the tag team titles, but they definitely deserve their shot. Mm-hmm. These two guys have definitely put in the work, and they have got the biggest part of any tag team that's not like a blood relation. They have their timing down, which.
Yeah, that's another thing. These guys have worked hard. Most people don't know. They've been in the NXT training center on their off days when they're not competing in house shows, training and working on their tag team moves. Most people don't do that, and most don't even know that Kid was actually living basically out of the training center at one point. He was their in-house guy, basically their go-to guy. I think I think his plate position's been taken over by Rhino. And they probably learned from his position, and they've given it to other guys on the roster now. Like they've got Rhino, they've got the Brian Kendrick filling those gaps, and eventually, if they do call up Brian Kendrick, Rhino's still going to be there. I don't think we're going to see any more guys in that position as of yet.
I think you have it the opposite way. I think when they call up Rhino, because I think that's a guy who could be ready for one more run.
Have you seen his shape?
He's ready.
He's not in proper shape. The dude's muscles look saggy at best. He needs to get back into proper ring shape. Maybe in a year, or maybe 6 months if he's not roiding. Then yeah, but he's got to be in proper shape.
I think he looks fine.
The Brian Kendrick is in the same shape he's always been.
Yeah, that physically fit, but not kind of like toned.
Yeah, but I think he could get toned. He could probably go between fit and toned within a month.
I just think
he's just a man.
He's a man. He's such a man.
Such a man.
He's a real man.
I heard that if you say the word Murka in the mirror 10 times, then you get toned and in shape.
Murka. No, it's not a thing. Dave, what do you think about Cesaro and Kid? What do you think about the tag titles? Did you watch Fastlane?
No, I didn't. It was Champions League week.
You need to do your wrestling homework, Dave. You need to do he's you know what, Brandon, he slipped.
I did. I openly admit I slipped, but in my defence, and Brandon, you at least back me up on this. It was Champions League week.
Did you cheat on us with TNA? Just tell him. Did you cheat on the WWE with TNA?
No, I cheated on you with
I'm not watching.
League. I'm telling you.
I'm not watching the Champions League because my club's not in it, so I'm not really.
That's because your club is
gay. I don't. It's because not that I don't care about it. I mean, if Madrid makes it to the finals, yeah, then I'll watch. Or I'll watch.
Well, let's be honest. I know. All right. Since this is my second job on here, which is to hijack it ever so slightly towards football every now and then. Barcelona are going to win. We know it.
Well, going from that, speaking of winners, what do you think of the new tag team champions? You've seen them work. Do you think they deserve it, Dave?
No.
You really don't?
No, I don't.
Okay, tell us why.
Controversial. Why? I don't.
Do you think the Usos should have kept the titles?
Sorry?
Do you think the Usos should have kept the titles?
Yeah, but I don't. I
would have liked the Kings of Wrestling.
I know I'm newbie in the room, but I just don't see it that they're viable long term.
I would have liked the Kings of Wrestling to do it. I would have liked Cesaro and Ono.
Hey, look, does anyone else think that they're viable long term people for it? I don't.
No, I think they're transitional champions. I think they're there to give the Usos. They're there to give the Usos a credible feud, and I do believe they'll probably end up splitting them up sooner than later.
I disagree. You know what? Because look, if anything proves that Cesaro is a capable tag team wrestler, if anything that Kid proves, he's a capable tag team wrestler. He's a capable talent. No matter what you get him in there, just give him the chance. So look, these two guys, they finally have their spot. I don't think they're going to want to give it up. I don't think they're going to want to give up being a tag team together.
Do you think they're viable long term?
I think so. Yes, I think Kid. Look, what got Tyson Kidd a lot of the rub was not only his talent. His talent got him there, but when Punk mentioned on that episode, I think it was the first episode of Art of Wrestling, or was it even in his famous promo,
where he thought that Tyson Kidd was the hardest working guy in WWE.
Then why? Let me ask you a question. There was another wrestler who talked about the fact that Kidd didn't like him when he was partnered up with him. I'm trying to figure out who it was. Don't think it was
I'm
Brodus
not
Clay.
going to say that he's... look, this is a guy who's literally been in professional wrestling, in a wrestling ring, since he was 10 years old. Like, he grew up...
Yeah, because he partnered with a few people. He partnered with... who was it he was partnered with? I think it was...
Well, he was the unofficial... He was like the 12th Hart child, or the 15th Hart kid, or whatever.
Yeah.
Unofficially.
Yeah, because
He's the unofficial Hart.
He was one of the last members of the Hart Dungeon.
He was Ted's friend.
Yeah. He was one of the last members of the Hart Dungeon, and he married Natty, which is one of the reasons
Have
why
you
he's
met
here.
Ted?
Which
Teddy Hart.
Which essentially...
Teddy Hart. We don't talk about Teddy Hart, and there's a reason.
I like Teddy Hart.
I don't. I think he's a twat. He's an idiot.
I like Teddy Hart stories.
Yeah,
Fine.
you like stories of him acting like a fucking idiot and getting high on drugs,
Yep, pretty much.
and then
I think I would have...
concussing himself,
me and Ted-
puking.
I think me and Ted would have a good time together.
Yeah,
That's all I'm gonna say.
until he gets you both arrested, and you're sitting there crying in the fucking prison cell.
Maybe, but
Yeah.
at least I'll have a story to tell.
I'll be like, Brandon, what happened with you and Teddy? We don't talk anymore. What happened? I was sexually violated.
I can't.
Let's just say
it
now I
under
understand why you have soap on a rope. It's for prison.
terms of my parole,
Yeah, terms of my parole not to talk to Teddy anymore.
or you just don't use soap.
Yeah, I didn't shower for weeks.
shit.
Why didn't you shower for weeks? Because it gets the anal rapist away from me.
I think that's the only valid excuse I've ever heard
For not
against
talking.
not showering that stands up.
Yeah, the anal rapist will stay away. So going on.
Oh my God, so what you're saying is even anal rapists, like a man who's cleanly.
This is one of the weirder.
They want an
tangents we've
asshole
ever
that's
done on the
cleanly,
show.
yeah. They need an asshole that's cleanly.
Anyway.
That's why they do it in the showers mostly, because if you drop the soap, they at
Anyway,
least know that
like
you
I
scrubbed.
said, I think Kid and Cesaro together are going to be
This
a
is what keeps
good
me on the
tag
straight
team
and narrow,
because-
people, because I don't want to get ass raped. Nothing else. Sorry.
Good to know.
Yeah. So
I
yeah.
think Kid and Cesaro together are going to be a good tag team because they both have the drive to continue to be relevant.
But
on
don't you think
TV.
these two want to be more independent superstars as well?
Yes, but I think they're going to use that as a springboard to eventually get that. They have to, prove that. But they could also they also have the talent, I think, and it's just a commodity of whether or not they could put together good promos, because that was the Usos' original problem, because the Usos had all the talent in the world in the ring, but
They still can't
always
cut
looked
good
like
promos. They just stand there and go,
they're
yo,
getting
hello,
there.
man. What is going on, man? What
they're
up?
they're getting there.
So-
They're learning to be more natural, which is the thing.
Okay, let's go on to another one. By the way, for those who give a fuck about the Divas match, Nikki Bella defeated Paige, and I'm looking at the Fastlane results thing. It's got a picture of Paige looking sexy in her leather jacket. Roman Reigns defeated Daniel Bryan, and as Brandon put out, Reigns basically Bryan made Reigns look strong. Bryan made Reigns look
strong. He made him look like he was a world class talent.
It was a smash mouth match where these two guys looked like they gave everything in the ring. They looked destroyed by the end of it.
Yeah, no, they left it all out there.
Yeah.
You could clearly tell by the end of the match, Reigns was not gassed, but he was glad it was over. They
were physically, I think it was a Japanese style smash mouth high impact match.
There was a lot of kicks. They
Yeah.
definitely said Daniel Bryan definitely used those kick pads to the fullest possible use.
It reminded me of Hitami versus Balor in sense it was strong style. You could tell.
Yeah, it was very
strong style.
It was very much, and I think they probably went out and said that before. It's like, hey man, let's not be afraid. I could go out and I could take it. Don't be worried about my neck. I won't worry about your bladder, or I don't know if that really.
Yeah, they played on that a lot though with his neck. They played on the fact Roman was going after his neck a lot. It was a really good match. Again, I never expected. I thought they were going to be.
I don't think Roman Reigns is going to be the last person to use that against Daniel Bryan. I think a lot of people are going to use that.
No, very much so. Nick, your opinion?
That was a heck of a main event. But I want to get squeeze this in here because the ending to Ambrose and Barrett fucking sucked.
We'll talk about that in a bit. We'll talk about that in a bit. Bryan versus Reigns. What did you think? Do you think Reigns deserved the victory? Did he look credible?
Yeah. He looked credible for sure. It's just that they were sticking to their plan, and that's what drives me. I think the thing that drives me nuts about the whole thing is they had a built-in storyline there with Daniel Bryan.
They did. They really did.
I was just going to say...
drop the ball. That's the part that eats... It's not that I don't like Roman Reigns. I love Roman Reigns. But
he's not ready.
It's the fact that they have this... No.
Yeah.
Far from it.
Yeah.
This is the best he looked in, I think the last really good singles match he had was against Orton at SummerSlam.
And do you think it's because of the people that he's going up against as the caliber of talent?
Yeah.
Okay.
He definitely needs to be up against guys that are way better than him.
Do you think Lesnar's gonna give him that sort of level?
I don't know. Lesnar can. It's a matter if Lesnar wants to.
Yeah, that's another thing. And again, if you don't believe us, go and watch WrestleMania. Was it 21? Lesnar versus 20. Lesnar versus Goldberg.
Yeah.
One of the worst matches I've ever seen both these men perform in, and Goldberg only has one level. So this match was disgusting. Dave,
I thought it just felt really, really, really manufactured. There was nothing organic about it.
Bryan versus Reigns.
Yeah, it just felt like an event someone wrote down on paper, then gave them and said, "Do this." And don't get me wrong, they were credible and professional and everything, but I just thought it just didn't. I don't know.
There was no suspense in it for you. Like, you knew Reigns was going to come out as the champion, and Eric had come out as the winner, and there was. I admit there was that for me. Like, I tried to stay spoiler free. I didn't watch when the pay-per-view aired originally, but
when people posted the results on Wrestle Revolution, we love you guys.
You know what it was? Not even the forums didn't even ruin it for me. It was WWE app ruined it for me because, I got the notification for it, and I looked at my thing, and it said Roman Reigns defeats Daniel Bryan at Fastlane to go on to face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. I was like, oh, thank you very much, WWE Network, for ruining your fucking...
Do you think they made the right move, though? Did you think they made the right move?
Yes, I think you do, because like I said before, if not now, when? And, now's the time, man. I think.
Rusev defeated John Cena. We've got that. We're on that one. Rusev defeated John Cena. There was a bit I called this match. Because I said the match would basically be shenanigans, and it wasn't too many shenanigans. But that stiff kick to the head, and the fact that Cena looked like all the blood was rushing to his face. The storytelling in this match, and I'll give it, like, it wasn't the most physically crafted match, but the storytelling for this match was amazing. I think it was a very well-told story.
It was the closest Rusev ever looked to ever being defeated, and there are people that have come pretty close before.
It's also the most credible Rusev ever looked as well.
Yes, yeah, that's also, and it goes to show that Cena's even come a long way too, because that was, for a long time, that was the biggest check mark that people had against Cena, was he wasn't the most at times graceful in the ring. There were a lot of things that were just kind of sloppy, I guess you could say, about the way Cena would do things, or unorthodox. And you would never really, picture him as a guy who would be the guy calling and carrying people through matches, but you clearly can hear that it's Cena calling out these spots, and leading the young man through the match and taking him and getting him to the place where he needs to be. Cena's now that guy. He's now the veteran, and the veteran did the job this week.
Oh my God! Sorry, Steve Richards, Mr. Retro Unlim, just went, Homo Joe comes out crying wearing a maxi pad. What is he like? Right, so Rusev...
I am not going to say any of those things to Samoa Joe's face because...
I wouldn't either. I would be fucking scared that he was going to kill me.
I would like to say, can I buy you a beverage, Polynesia Joe?
So, Bad News Barrett versus Dean Ambrose. Nick, take it away.
Oh god, I hate the finish of this match so fucking much. The match I thought... Well, first of all, I'm amazed that was as clean as I thought that Cena Rusev match was going to go. I knew there was going to be some shenanigans. I honestly thought it was going to be outright Rusev getting himself disqualified. So, got lucky there, but... why would you have... Okay, so you have Wade Barrett trying to avoid Ambrose the whole match. Great. But you have the guy who's going for the title end up getting disqualified. If you're gonna have something like that happen and have him win, have just somehow Barrett just run straight away and then lose by count out.
The count out. I get that, yeah. But I think now it makes a little bit more sense because it seems what they're building toward, title picture going into WrestleMania. So it's kind of like if they do Ambrose versus Barrett, it's kind of like that's who survived this melee.
Well, it's gonna be a ladder match.
People. Is that the plan? It's gonna be.
Yeah, it looks like it's gonna be a ladder match.
I mean, then what is R-Truth? Is R-Truth is just doing it in there to stoke the fire? Hashtag give Truth a chance, man. Give Truth a chance.
Yep.
So, in the whole...
So now they're doing it in such a way, because they're doing it as a ladder match, so now there's no way Barrett's going to be able to run. Because he runs away, well, guess what? Someone else is going to grab that belt. Because it's not going to be, right by the ring. It's going to be hanging above the thing, 15 feet in the air, so...
Yes. No, we know what a ladder match is. But it's now it makes sense. I get what you're saying. I didn't like it either. It was confusing. But now, with the hindsight of what we know, what happened on the night of Raw and on an episode of SmackDown, we see what they're building towards, and
that's why I didn't like it.
Of course, I would have loved to see Ambrose win, but I think it's going to be. We're going to get that at WrestleMania. I hope.
The whole thing felt like a throwaway because it was clearly scripted and set up for another event. It was basically or cannon fodder in a story, and the disqualification.
That's what the February pay-per-view always is, though. It's always to set up Mania. Everything is done.
No, I agree.
And as we saw it,
this pay-per-view
disqualification meant that we got shafted.
No, but I think the pay-per-view was kind of the. It was the setup. This wasn't a bad pay-per-view. Was it better than NXT's Takeover pay-per-view? No. Was it good?
Fuck no.
Was it better
I don't think I can compare the two, though. Really
no, because one was more fast-paced and booked kind of solidly, fluidly. This one was kind of broken up between promos.
Because it's a longer show. You really can't... Until NXT is 3 hours and they have to fill 3... Until we have to watch Mojo Rawley every week.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Remember, and Marcus LaFour, and there's some...
Well, what I will say, Bad News Barrett versus Dean Ambrose was an okay match. You weren't going to expect a classic. Not here, not now. It was there for a purpose, and it was to give Barrett the win, so it sets up the next feud for Mania, which it has done. Next match is Goldust defeated Stardust in what I thought was...
This is another head-scratcher.
It was a quality match.
No, it was a great match.
And it's setting these two up for Mania. It's setting up for the final showdown, which I believe will be Goldust's final match.
It was a good match, but can I just say, it was gay as shit.
I mean, that's not surprising.
Stardust did look really kind of sexually ambiguous in his...
Oh, you didn't like...
No, by the way, I'm not homophobic or anything like that. I got, back for whatever team you want, but with that match, the fact that they would... It was just... I just felt like 15 minutes before it, someone just gave him a script and go, be that bloke there. Here's the list of all the movements you're allowed to make and cringeworthy bloody...
I don't like the Stardust character anymore. I think the character's done.
It's definitely worn out on me.
Yeah.
Like,
it was a kid's character. It was a character that you could see as a kiddie's character. It was enjoyable. When they turned him heel, that was it. And I think he needs to go back to being Cody Rhodes. I don't see a problem. A lot of people are just like, well, Stardust is better than Cody Rhodes. He's paying homage to his brother. No one wants to see Goldust 2.0. They want to see the next generation. They want to see Cody Rhodes, who has proven time and time again to get himself over no matter the gimmick. He got his nose broken. He did the kind of broken Cody Rhodes gimmick.
Shattered Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, like
Cody Rhodes.
Yeah,
then he did
good.
He did the dashing Cody Rhodes gimmick. Then he did Psycho Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes has proven to shine despite...
Then he got a mustache over.
Yeah, he got a mustache over. That's exactly it. Cody Rhodes' mustache. By the way, I'm sporting a very nice beard at the moment, people. So, I know too well. I know too well. My beard is epic, isn't it, Nick? My beard is epic.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I think we have to talk about the elephant in the room, which is all of our beards pale in significance to the glory that is Mr. Liggian's when it kicks fully back in.
Actually,
I'm not saying anything.
No. It pales in comparison to the Scottish beard that is Rob Man's beard. Rob Man's beard is the beard. It puts the dashing in beards.
My beard is based on true story, by the way. My beard, because I groom it. It makes me sound like I'm...
I need to do that because mine's getting itch. What do you do about
mine's
itch,
based on
Dave?
Steve Benway's.
What do you do? What do you do about the itch, Dave? Because mine, I need.
That's why I trim it. That's why I have what I like to call Chuck Norris stubble, which is you keep it at a certain length and then the itch stays away.
Well, I'm thinking of
people. True story. If you're going to grow a beard, go the Steve Benway route, which is the route
a friend
I
of mine
went.
from the Toxic Network, okay, Nick Abrams, a former member of I Got Gameplay, now does his own show.
Nick
Joystick. He does the Joystick Jerks over at the Toxic Network, and he was telling me that I need to get like beard care lotion and stuff for it.
No, so you don't. You just need to keep it short.
I don't want to keep it. I want a Gandalf-sized beard. God damn it!
You got a Gandalf-sized beard. It's going to get in your food. It's going to get in your fucking car. You'll get it trapped in car doors.
I will Daniel Bryan that motherfucker and just tie it and stuff. I want to see if I can do it. I want to see if I can pull off the big beard. At the moment, it's trimmed to a reasonable length, but it is getting itchy. So I need to figure out what to do with it.
Trim it. That's why you keep it trimmed. Have you not learned anything from Benway?
When the person you've been talking shit to on the internet shows up at your house. So true. So basically, going on from that, we've talked about Cesaro and Kid. We've talked about Golden Stardust. We've talked about Barrett versus Ambrose.
Where'd that come from?
Yeah, I agree with Brandon. I think it's worn out on that one. Let's go to basically the roundup of the entire pay-per-view and just say, oh, actually, we had Rollins, Kane's, Big Show, Ziggler, Rowan, and Ryback. I didn't give a fuck about this match. It just seemed like something that should have been done on SmackDown.
It was a throwback. It was just a
setup for the return of Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the opener. Yeah, it's opening fodder.
Do you think it was the way that they kind of...
it's a six-man tag team match. You always have a six-man tag team match. A six-man tag team match is always a good way to open the show. Gets everybody out there.
It was okay for what it was. It wasn't. It was kind of the meh match. It was the one that was like, okay, it is what it was. It was a WWE style match
that opened the show. Am I not mistaken? So that's again perfect way to open.
No,
the show.
Didn't the tag team titles open the show? I swear that was in the middle.
It was the return of Randy Orton.
Okay.
Yeah.
As I call it. That's all it was. It was the return of Randy Orton.
And you're entirely right. It was
1 month late for the showdown with the Diamond Cutter.
Yeah. So let's ask you guys a question then. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the show, Brandon?
I mean, it set up everything you do. Like, are we gonna not factor in the great Bray Wyatt promo too? Like, we gotta.
The Taker promo. Well, we'll talk about that when you rate the show. So talk about the Bray Wyatt promo and I'll give you a rating.
I think that that largely factors in my grade because again, it's set up pretty much everything. We set up the Sting situation with Triple H that got set up.
I enjoyed that. That got a good pop. But I love the fact they're not having
that was
Sting
one of
talk.
it was one of those things
Yeah.
like you're sitting there watching it like I never thought
Stephen
would
Richards
see
was talking to
Triple
me
H.
about this, and he actually said about the fact that Sting doesn't say anything makes his character more impactful. They kind of learnt the lesson that WCW and TNA didn't learn.
Doesn't have to say anything.
Yeah,
I think at this point, it doesn't have to. I think WWE knows.
The stat for being the wrestler that has not talked officially of all wrestlers, he has the official stat. I think it might even be in the Guinness Book of Records.
He hasn't cut a promo within a year. No, he didn't get on
talk
the mic
in a year or something.
and he actually didn't talk whenever he was around people. When he was around the fans, didn't say a word. When he was in the ring, in the arena, didn't say a word. As soon as he left and basically like whenever he showed up on house shows, didn't say a word. He officially had never talked for a year and got the character over. As soon as they did that shitty match between him and Hogan, where Hogan ended up fucking winning, and then Bret Hart came out, restarted the match, and Sting won.
Yep.
And then dropped the fucking belt back to Hogan. Then anyway, they just destroyed his character. They all that build throughout that entire year was wasted.
And that's why WCW lost the war.
Yeah. Bad.
Because they had WWE on the ropes. They had a gimmick that everybody loved. They had a character that was getting over. They had one of the.
He was so over that time. He was actually more over than he was when he was the Man called Sting.
Dude, he's never been more over in his entire career.
Yeah.
And this was the guy who was the face of a company for a while.
He was the face of two companies, TNA as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have to acknowledge them because.
Yeah, I guess we have to acknowledge.
Well,
them.
you have to.
I
try
just love
hard.
that in the Sting segment with Triple H. I love the fact that he just pointed the bat at him, started the walk.
No, that was old school. That was old school. That's what I liked about it.
It basically introduced a WCW mainstay to the WWE audience so well. Triple H did all the talking. Triple H led the promo, and then when he started beating on Sting, and then went to get the sledgehammer, and then Sting just pulls out the fucking bat, and then Triple H goes to.
Where was that? Did he just have that on him the entire time?
I think that's his substitute penis. He just has it in his pants. People are just like
built into the trench coat. It's
yeah,
built into the trench
they're like,
coat.
Sting, your dick is huge, and then he just pulls it out. It's like, oh, that's not your penis.
That's a baseball.
Yeah, that's a baseball bat. That's the reason why you wear a cup. Bluff.
Is that a baseball bat, or are you just happy to see me? Oh, it's a baseball bat.
So moving on from that, what would you give it the score?
No, I think it did its job. So I give it a 7 out of 10. Rollins and Reigns and Daniel Bryan killed it. Cena and Rusev killed it. Everything else was acceptable, and you got two awesome promos.
One from Bray Wyatt, one from Triple H and Sting. I agree with you on that one. I will rate it again myself. I'll go with Brandon. 7 out of 10. Wasn't the most amazing show, but it's certainly.
No, I'm not like, exactly. I'm not like,
my
god, this is the best show ever.
Yeah, it did its job, and it was miles better than the Royal Rumble. In my opinion.
I don't think the Royal Rumble was that bad. I just think people were so pissed off that Daniel Bryan lost.
No, it had one match in the Royal Rumble that was great, and that was the basically the triple threat for the WWE Championship.
That was the pay-per-view. It only had 2 of 3 matches in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, every other match was a fucking tag team match. It was like Teddy Long booked the whole fucking thing.
Player. Yeah, that was a Teddy Long Royal Rumble, man.
Yeah, so Nick, what about you?
I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10, just based solely on the fact that we had that epic Bray Wyatt promo, and just that smirk on his face when he sat up in the casket.
He knew it. He knew it, man. He knew it.
He knew he had...
He's like, I got these fuckers, man. I fucking got them.
Yeah.
Now I just hope I don't fuck up my lines.
Well, he's not Randy Orton, because if Randy Orton came out, he probably wouldn't remember his line. What's my line?
Yeah, too many lines.
So Sting...
But then you had Cena and Rusev, just awesome. They killed it, and then Rusev killed Cena's balls.
Yeah, that
Nikki Bella's
looked
not happy about that one.
That
she
big
didn't tell
boot,
anybody.
that big boot in the nutsack. I just saw that. I was like, "Oh fuck!" I was like, "I hope he was wearing a cup for that." And then he booted him in the
He's wearing
head.
boots though. It was just a big foot.
But then he booted him in the head.
His big Bulgarian foot.
That was beautiful. That was nothing gimmicky about that. That was a straight kick
Just
to the
think,
nuts.
that big sweaty man, that
think,
big
Nikki
Bulgarian
Bella's pissed
sweaty
off about
man,
that.
that big sumo, humongous Bulgarian man, actually mounts Lana every night. Think about that.
Do you think is that a thing that happens?
Rusev, vodka.
No, it's like Rusev. Fuck.
I would crush you. So yeah, what would you give it, Nick? Score out of 10.
The 7 out of 10. You know, as I was trying to get out, before we start all going off the. Yeah, Rusev. Yeah, Nikki Bella was not happy about that kick to the nuts, but she didn't tell anybody. Can't say with a straight face. But then
just say
Roman Reigns was trying
people,
fucking
Nick.
killed
Say
it.
bollocks.
Do you think John Cena's kids?
Bollocks.
Do you think John Cena and John Cena and Nikki's kids die in the womb? But I'm sure.
Oh!
I know. I had to. Mr. Dave Wade, I know you haven't watched the pay-per-view, but from what you've seen, what would you give it in rating?
I've seen some of it.
Out of 10, Mr.
Champions League didn't. I see. Now this is where you've got me addicted to this, but this is where cynical Dave kicks in, and I understand how these things work now, thanks to you, all of you. But it just felt like a cog, and it was something they had to progress story with and get out the way.
So
for
basically,
other
you're
events.
saying that it did what could have been done with a WWE TV show. With
Pretty
Raw
much.
and SmackDown. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
it just felt. I don't know. For the bits I have watched, and I'm going to go back because I'm milking my fucking WWE thing on the 4 days a week my internet actually fucking works. And like I said, it's me being cynical, but it just felt like an event that was put out there to just, I don't know, kill fucking time. I'll give it 6. Ooh, burn.
Okay. So 6 out of 10. What did you give it, Nick?
7 out of
Big wall
10.
7.
So we're basically, the general consensus is 7 out of 10. Ladies and gents, for those of you who are sitting there complaining about the pay-per-view being shit, stop looking at Daniel Bryan losing as the score for the pay-per-view. You've got to look at it as a whole in terms of the matches, in terms of the card, in terms of how strong the pay-per-view was.
I tell you what, though, if I wasn't a member of the WWE Network, I'd be fucking pissed having to pay full dollar for that.
I agree with you on that. If I paid for this, I probably would have been pissed. The fact that I paid only $10 for that and a litany of other shows, so I had to add that in.
And I watched that match, but you talked about last week, by the way. I watched the WrestleMania 3 match. Oh my god, Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan. I think I had wood at the end of the match. That's what I'm saying.
It's a really great match. And that's a difference. Back then they could tell a story, now not so much because it's more fast paced, so their pacing kind of shoots the story off, which I think Rusev versus Cena did just that. It reminded me of an old school WWE match. So the only thing is Cena should have been riding the Lex Express. I need a hero. She had that whole promo thing.
Oh my god.
Kissing babies.
That should be like the Cena redemption.
Yeah.
He loses to Rusev
When
at
I look
WrestleMania.
into my young girl's eyes,
Oh god, I love that song.
I need a hero.
I bit that gimmick hook, line, and sinker.
I did too. I was sitting there, I was like, this
bro.
man is going to be your next WWE champion. Then the last minute they were like, yeah, that ain't going to happen.
Nope.
That's,
They're like, yeah, this guy's kind of
Wow,
fucking impossible to work with.
yeah, he
At least the
basically...
fat Samoan guys.
it was crazy because they had him body slam Yokozuna. He went on Lex Express. He was going to be the next Hulk Hogan, and then, straight
realized
downhill.
that whole summer was like, yeah, we really don't want to deal with Luger.
Yeah, it was literally, as soon as they booked him to not win it, he was just like, I'm done. And I remember Scott and Kevin, when they went to WCW, was like, hey, Luger, you want to come back? Hell yeah. It's like, they're not giving me the world title, so fuck these guys. It just shows. It's a shame. I need a hero. It was such a great gimmick. But yeah, so, on that level, that is what it is. Now let's go to the Iron Sheet tweet of the week and end this motherfucker.
Yep.
Please. I want to go play some GTA.
Well, you're the person who needs to do the Iron Sheik tweet of the week, mister.
Oh, I was waiting for my theme song. I was waiting for my
Yes.
Iron Sheik tweet of the week.
Oh, yeah. The Iron Sheik tweet of the week. So, Brandon, let's do it.
Boom, hit the theme song. Alrighty then. So, Iron Sheik was.
I want to know, are you the man or are you a fucking piece of shit? No good motherfucker. Fucking
Yes.
bullshit! Bullshit, Hulk Hogan. I'm the
Go on, Brandon.
Link me to that, please.
Alright, so Iron Sheik was all over the place this week. Of course, there was the Fastlane pay-per-view was going on at the same point in time as the Academy Awards, so there's a rife amount of things to choose from. But I think I had to go with this one because it just made me laugh so much when I read it. The Neil Patrick White underwear have skid mark longer than the J-Lo dress. Hashtag Oscars 2015. No, that didn't do anything for you.
No.
That didn't do anything for you. Made me laugh.
My comedy
Made
wood
me laugh.
didn't rise to the occasion.
No, it didn't do anything for you on that one. Alright, hang on. I'll see if I can find
By the way, while he's trying to find that, we got more from Mr. Retro Unlim. Joe Doe,
Yes.
Joe Boy, Jelly Joe, Lana equals anal, Joseph K. McDonald's, Joseph,
Whoa.
as in Rusev, Joseph, G.I. Joe,
Jesus.
and the tip of the iceberg, Joe-mosexual.
Joe's sorry. He's got a match ball for that one.
Joe-mosexual. Oh my god! I'm gonna give him your address. If Joe bangs down my door and starts beating me, Steve, I'm gonna give him your address.
I love you, Steve. I really do. But clearly, based upon this podcast tonight, you've got too much spare time on your hands.
He's actually at work at the moment.
Oh my god!
Yeah, really. What did Samoa?
Hell yeah.
What I really want to know. What did Samoa Joe ever did to Steve?
I'm gonna actually hashtag that. Hashtag Joe-mosexual. That should be his WWE pick.
Do not.
He will.
Oh,
Do not
God.
want anything.
He will kill me.
No.
Hashtag
Yeah, no.
Where's he
Joe-mosexual.
posting this?
That's-
Is this in the group?
This is in the chat, in the Slamcast chat, while we're streaming.
Oh,
Oh
But yeah.
shit.
Have you found your Iron Sheik tweet of the week?
I mean, you didn't laugh at that one. Then I don't know what you're gonna do.
Okay, well
I was just gonna say, how about 50 Shades of Go Fuck Yourself Forever?
that's better.
How about that?
Beautiful.
fucking bullshit!
There you go.
That's your Iron Sheik tweet of the week. Thank you very much.
And ladies
Let's
and
go
gentlemen,
home.
this is where you can find me on youtube.com/TheNerdGenius. This is another podcast. You can find the Retro Unlimited podcast page. Plus, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to have a Slamcast iTunes page. So what you can do is follow us on the ISS feed, download Slamcast and all our other shows like Burhan and the Boy using either the Retro Unlimited Network's iTunes page or by using the singular iTunes page for each individual show. And we're doing that because we'll be launching a new site via retroanime.com, which is going to have live streams, live shows on the site itself. We'll have uploading MP3s via our forum and RSS iTunes links to all our content via that. That's coming soon. It's being done by an amazing person by the name of Stuart Brand from the Retro Unlim Net guy. He's Retro Games
Retro Unlim Net guy.
1976. One of our Retro Unlim guys. Retro Games 1976, isn't it?
Yeah, the only person who thinks Shaq Fu is a good game in the world. Sorry.
So you can find us on there, guys. And make sure that you check us out. You go to youtube.com/TheNerdGenius for me. We're going to have another Rather British review loaded up tomorrow once I finish doing some stuff today for the Silent Hill pilot that I'm currently working on. If you go to facebook.com/Enigma Entertainment, look at the castings. We've got a new casting, Detective Bennett. Basically will be on there. He's one of our newest casting. He joins. His name is Michael Carey. He'll be playing Detective Bennett. The guy looks the part for the character. Detective Bennett is a new character that we've casted for it. He's going to be the uncle of Sybil Bennett, one of the mainstays from Silent Hill 1. And we've also got our lesser cast. Basically Jamie Stiles, who was cast last week. We've got more names coming, 9 different parts. I'm going to be posting a cast list for those who want to audition. What I'm looking for is people.
But you're not allowed to audition for Peel Baby because I got that.
Yes, and he's basically the dumpster baby. Then you can also
that dumpster baby.
If you go to imdb.com, type in Silent Hill Genesis, you can find a lot more in terms of our cast updates and everything going on with our castings and other little bits and pieces. The our Indiegogo will be released soon. Reason why I haven't done it as of yet, I want to get the full cast done. I'm going to be doing cons. I've been invited to San Diego Comic Con if I can go. I have to decide whether or not I want to go or not, because I would have to buy a plane ticket. Secondly,
I thought you were going to say I have to buy a plane. Fucking hell. You high roller.
In May, I'm going to be at Play Blackpool. I'm still trying to finalise the details for a Silent Hill panel, which we talk about the Silent Hill pilot there, talk about the castings, the characters, and ideas that you guys want to see. So if you want to come and shake my hand and talk to me or swear at me for ruining your childhood, come to Play Blackpool and I'll be there to answer your questions and also to feel your wrath. Now let's go over to Mr. Nick Horacek. Nick, where can we find you? Nick?
I can't find him.
Still here. Sorry, my controller turned off on me. I was trying to save something. Fuck. So, plugs?
Apart from butt plug. Go for a plug.
God damn it.
So what's the plug?
Resisting urge to make creepy page jokes, so I'm going to take the high road on this one.
Please
anyway, you can find me on YouTube at the game. Anyway, you can find me on YouTube at the Gaming Pegasus 187. I'm on Twitter at Gaming Pegasus 187. I'm on Facebook at Nick Horacek. I'm on PSN at The Extreme Enigma. I'm on Instagram, Xbox Live, the Wii U, and WWE Supercard at Pegasus 187. I got my fucking good Survivor Fusion card, and as far as those goddamn Road to Glory things that I fucking keep running into, fuck you! Yeah. The Survivor Fusion cards actually top the Road to Glory cards.
Dude, have you got a dick in your mouth
I'm
or something?
so happy.
I can't hear
No,
you.
I think Nick, you need to learn how to cigars.
Fucking...
Yeah,
I
Steve
smoke.
says that you've been caught wanking.
God, thanks.
Oh my god.
I'm trying to take a drink of water. I just didn't.
He said the new one, 50 names of Joe.
50.
Oh god.
Silent Joe. He can come out as a deaf mute.
God damn.
Hush Holiday's already got that gimmick
thanks.
covered, so, you know.
Dave, where can we find you? And please don't talk like you have a penis in your mouth.
You can find me standing over the last still warm corpse of the last panda in captivity.
Wow.
It's my thing now. I'm running with it. Sorry. I've got more.
No, go for it. One a week is good. One a week is good.
You can find me at the end of the universe, laughing at the death of small children. Oh, that was too dark, even for me. Sorry.
That was too dark. That was just... People are going to be like, who's that creepy guy who talks depressing things? I'll be like, it's Dave.
Do you know what? Right, this is your fault, Mr. Liggian. Even though I'm not going to lie, I like it. But sometimes it works.
You like it,
now,
you bitch.
Now, this is my thing that I end my plug. I don't even
you
plug
like
myself.
it, Dave. You freaking whore, Dave.
Sometimes I stop at work and think, I must come up with something really dark.
Sometimes I cry at night. So, Brandon, Mr. Liggian, where can we find you?
I'm supposed to take it home now. It's my turn.
You're supposed to take it home now, sure. You biscuits and gravy.
I'm gonna take it. Yes, I'm taking it home. So, all right, if you like this show, obviously you like professional wrestling, you can listen to me or find my tweets about professional wrestling and anything else really that comes to my mind. Brandon All Hope on the Twitter.
Yeah, that's basically about it, man. Maybe do some Twitch streaming later. Who knows?
Support independent wrestling.
What?
Support independent wrestling.
Support independent wrestling, yes, because, it's the grassroots out there. The future of this business is, probably taking place right in front of you in your local hometown. I guarantee you, if you live in the United States, UK, anywhere, Canada, there's...
I like the way you had that at the end, like Canada's a third world country. If you live in the UK, anywhere, Canada.
Yes.
This is the one where they give, if you give, $5 a month to feed children in Canada.
Yeah. Because let's face it, if it wasn't for...
Give them water and electricity.
Canada right now. Just $5 a month
for the
will
French
help Canada become a real country.
It would put it this way: if it wasn't for the British or the French, Canada would just be America's hat. So, all right, that's it for us. Burhead's playing my theme song. So for Nick Rockcheck, for Mr. Dave Wade, for the Arn Anderson to my Ric Flair. There we go. Work that in there.
And Dead Pandas. Dead Pandas.
And Dave's Dead Pandas.
I'm throwing up the
I'm
force
Brandon
sign.
Liggian. You're fucking up my shit, man.
Sorry.
Fucking my shit up. Sorry.
Dead Pandas
you're
are
all fucking
important.
my shit up.
We're out 5,000, folks.
Wrecker of your shit.
Let's go. I'm done. Peace, love, and happiness. We're out.
This show is sponsored by Homosexual Joe. And also by the fact that I'm going to need bodyguards after this because Joe is definitely going to kill me. I'm not saying that Joe rapes monkeys, but I might as well get it out there. Because Samoa Joe is literally going to analyze me worse than Lana gets analyzed by Rusev. It's gonna be
God.
It's gonna be bad. This show is also sponsored by Women's Rights. Because the divas do matter when they're not being jerked over. Just saying.
Love you, Paige. Call me.
Phrasing.